Contenders. It's the heart and soul of our sport.
Where all our heroes start on their path to greatness.
What is Contenders about, you might ask?
It's about these little shining moments
where these players strive to become who they're truly meant to be.
They get better, better, and better.
Twisted Minds, currently ahead of everybody.
Whisper showing why they're number one.
That is a huge shift of momentum.
Oh my God, Squid. What on earth? How did Saints even manage to bring that one back?
Genuinely one of the best Pharahs in the entire world.
It all stems from this moment right here.
No way, Quandop! I love this when the fight is dire, when they must make a play.
Nothing short of magnificent.
LH Cloudy, two-man self-destruct. I never thought I'd see that in my life.
Oh my God, this meta is great. There's so much diversity.
They're not going down without fights.
A pick through! The Lucio hits the ground! Another sound barrier finally lands from Kellex.
The Blizzard out. It's bought 3 kills from Twisted Minds. XR desperately contesting. Just wrestle control of the map. Nobody's feeling safe.
The best storylines that we have in Contenders are these teams that come in and they surprise as things go on.
For us, weeks and weeks of play have led to this moment.
But for these players,
It's more than that.
It's everything they are and everything they want to be.
The Overwatch Contenders Spring Series playoffs continue right now.
Welcome, everybody, to the playoffs. We're finally here in the European EMEA Spring Stage playoffs. Moxie, myself, Dustin, is joining you, obviously, for these matches, and I am so damn excited. How are you feeling leading into these playoffs, Moxie?
I'm so hyped, Dustin. I'm so hyped. Playoffs is back, and we have some surprises in store for you. Starting right here, right now. We're coming in with one of my most favorite teams to get to watch and see what they do, what they're able to curve around the meta. It's going to be all yeah up against Sheer Cold first. And then obviously, because it's playoffs, all of the games are going on at the moment, we don't know who the second match is going to be between because they're going to have to play it first to decide it.
Yeah, careful. You know, we don't want to leak the script too early, obviously. No, I'm just kidding. We don't obviously have a script. But if we take a look at the standings, a lot of changes, a lot of things were kind of surprising to people, I guess, leading through this season. Obviously, Twisted Minds going undefeated the entire time. Oh, yeah, the team we'll be watching up first today is taking that second seed, Moxie. That's quite a surprise for a lot of people that have been watching them.
I mean, oh yeah, coming in 9-2, like you said, picking up that second seed. The only 2 teams that they've actually lost against were Twisted Minds and Triple Esports. Obviously, Twisted Minds, like you said, undefeated, the best Pharah in the world at the moment for them, as well as being able to go between Quartz and Yubi for that hit scan Tracer DPS duo. That's allowed them to be just so dominant in all of these different forms of compositions, as we can have a look at the bracket and have a look at some of these matches, some of these teams that might potentially be dropping down to the low, which is where we're going to be following in that second match. Twisted Minds versus Peps. That's going to be a really interesting one because now that the dust has settled and some of these teams have had a little bit of time to truly get to grips with the Pharah dominance that's been coming out from some of these teams, we might see a little bit of a change up in terms of strategy.
Yeah, and especially seeing Triple Esports potentially playing against them early on in the winners. If they make it after SR Peak Check would be surprising too, both of those teams on the same side. Meanwhile, down here below with Aw Yeah, Sheer Cold, and then Ex Oblivione and Raspberry Racers in that first round. A lot of these matchups are still up in the air. We have yet to see. Obviously, Sheer Cold making the playoffs this season in particular is a good sign for them. I think the team has slowly been working on things, slowly becoming the team that we know them as. And for them to go against Aw Yeah, I mean, that's a decent matchup that you have to be at least okay with on the side of Sheer Cold. Even if Aw Yeah are that second seed, you know what they have to offer. But maybe this team, Aw Yeah, as a unit have just developed and become this ultimate quote-unquote cheese lineup where they kind of just destroy everybody with their unique playstyle.
Well, it is a rematch, and the last time that these teams faced up in regular season, it was a 3-0 in favor of Oya. So Shekold are definitely going to be feeling the heat on this one, but we can have a look at Oya's roster, and there are some really standout names, Chasm being one of them. The fact that his Wrecking Ball is just absolutely exemplary, and he can play it on maps where a lot of teams actually vid away from the Wrecking Ball. Places like Antarctic Peninsula, he has some amazing Wrecking Ball tech that he's able to use with rolls that you don't expect that ball to be around maps like Icebreaker, where everyone sort of figured out it would just be Ramatra and Reinhardt reigning supreme in terms of tanks you can run.
Yeah, I think for Oya and like you said, Chasm in particular, I mean, he's really been able to develop, like you said, into that kind of must-pick or must-play player in general. And now if we take a look at Sheer Cold on the opposite side, Moxie, I mean, like you said, it was 3-0 earlier on in the regular season, but maybe with time and with a little bit of practice, Sheer Cold developed into something a bit better. Obviously, Muse, one of the standout players, won DPS, and I think overall this team has definitely worked on their cohesion and have definitely improved as a unit to make it to this far in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm going to be keeping an eye on Shekold to see whether or not they're going to be running the same strategy that they did in regular season up against Oya, because they did actually like to field towards the Cassidy, the hit scan. Despite the Cassidy getting hit by that health nerf, they did want to go for it to try to counter that Wrecking Ball, and it just did not work out. So I'm hoping that we're maybe going to get to see a different DPS lineup coming through from QRXU and Muse, and that's going to give a little bit more breathing room, right, for the rest of this team, because we know that Oya go away from the meta. They're not going to be running the Sombra, they're not going to be running the Tracer. It gives your backline a little bit of time to make sure that they can stay alive for long, instead of having to constantly watch their backs for something like a Sombra popping out of stealth and just one-clipping you.
Yeah, there's so much you have to worry about in the current meta, and we talked about it, you heard it in the hype video leading up to this. I mean, the meta has still been diverse, especially over here in EMEA, and the first map we'll be going to, obviously, is going to be a control map. It will be Nepal, and Moxie, I mean, this map in particular, if you're Sheer Cold, I imagine they're a little bit worried considering the fact that, I mean, Wrecking Ball, Chasm himself, I'm sure he appreciates playing control maps better than a lot of tank players would.
So it's not Chasm that I'm worried about. I'm worried about Chasm on Sanctum, 100%, because environmental knockoffs before you get to the point. The main player that I'm worried about is actually Kaya, because Kaya can play Junkrat. There are two heroes that Kaya likes to field towards, the Junkrat and the Torbjorn. The Torbjorn we tend to see coming out in wider spaced maps, but the Junkrat is a staple for control, and Nepal has so many tight spaces that you have to constantly walk through if you ever lose control of that point, that they're just going to be taking so much chunks of damage from those nades.
Yeah, you're right. I think that they'll have to be worried about Kaya just absolutely dominating them. But on the opposite side, they have their own star talent. Like I said, QRXU had some really pop-off performances on the hit scan. Muse as well can really support him in a lot of ways. I think that this DPS lineup is heavily, not underrated per se, but definitely can compete with some of the best. And obviously, if you're dealing with Kaya and Oya, you might as well have these two to be able to do so. And for Sheer Cold's setup, potentially, they could also maybe rotate away from the more traditional comps to maybe play, like you said, maybe more lockdown compositions as they just try to maybe play on the point like a Symmetra or something like that. I think that they could really benefit from playing more of these point-centric comps.
Well, we even see it sometimes from teams, especially on Nepal Village, where even though teams are veered away from the Reinhardt, it can be so strong if you just grab a Rein, a Mei, a Symmetra, TP to that point, lock one of the ends off with that Mei wall, place all of your turrets, and then just sit and wait for that team to come to you because you have that point anchored down. I'm just worried for Sheer Cold because they're just going to be barraged from all of these different angles with all of these different problems, right? Chasm's one of them. Kaya then adds to that weight. You've also got to worry about Kaiser coming in on something like that Mei walling you off every single time you approach, and it's just going to be stack upon stack upon stack upon stack. And Sheer Cold, they're going to be like Atlas. They're going to have to hold the weight of the world on their backs if they want to be able to deal with all of these problems. So hopefully we're going to see, now that they understand what it is that they're up against, they're going to have a little bit of a better time than the last time these two teams met.
I mean, I like how you mentioned May, Moxie. I think that generally a lot of these May players have started to, I mean, you still can't really, I think, stand out necessarily. You can stand out at May, but you can't like become like a superstar. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like May has a lot of utility, obviously, but a lot of these really good May players have slowly developed into, you know, hitting those icicles early on, making sure they get that headshot to at least pressure people back. Like, yeah, a lot of the times you may not get that kill, but if you at least hit the headshot, you could force a little bit of those healing resources, and maybe, you know, that enables your team a bit more and maybe slows down the opponent. And obviously, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Muse previously has played that May at a very high level too. And for sheer cold, I think that's a lot of their Wink Edition is going to be, like you mentioned, that May in particular.
Yeah, especially if they're running into a Hammond, right? If you're running into a Hammond, you can just wall off that escape. Granted, the primary doesn't freeze, but it does still slow, and that is the Hammond's worst enemy. But if you think Sheer Cold are going to be able to see this victory through against their enemy, two in chat, if you think, oh yeah, are going to be able to continue this absolute dominant run that they've had for regular season into the playoffs, one, as we're going to look at the first map of Nepal that we head to in just a matter of moments, and I'm sure Sheer Cold are crossing all of the fingers in the hopes that it's not going to be Sanctum, and I absolutely hate to tell them, but Sanctum is exactly where we're going to be starting off. This is going to be the biggest mountain for this team to climb on this particular map, because this is where the ball is at its strongest.
Yep. I'm curious to see what they're going to run, but obviously, Moxie, we're in our very first match of the playoffs so far in the spring stage, and I think that, you know, obviously the entire stage has led up to such an insane moment in the playoffs. So we're really in EMEA. I think everything's up in the air except what, maybe Twisted Minds being as dominant.
Literally up in the air, yeah, because Twisted Minds playing that power composition, sometimes it does feel like they are just absolutely untouchable. As, oh yeah, no surprises what they're going to be running. Sheer Cold going to actually be fielding Sobek towards that Baptiste, Sucrax onto the Kiriko, so they're playing survivability for when Chasm actually drops down.
Yeah, and on the opposite side, Sheer Cold trying to maybe play a little bit more meta, except without we're playing Lucio Baptiste. I suppose it's a little off meta, but with specifically the Sombra and the Tracer really have been two prominent DPSs in the current meta. Oh yeah, kind of given a little bit of space, able to rotate towards that point while Sheer Cold are trying to control that flank, and they do so quite well. Isaac could not even swift step away to his team taken out by Sucrax, and also Coolboy's down. So Muse and Sucrax with a little bit of an untraditional Tracer Rico dive gives them those two opening kills, and then Ice Nom's able to find up on Kaiser and take that first point flip.
Well, you mentioned a lack of Lucio. Sheer Cold don't need it, because all of them are so mobile. The Kiriko can just swift step, the Baptiste is Immortality Field, he doesn't need peel. Ice Nom on that Diva has the boosters, Curex you can just stealth, and Muse can blink. Oh yeah, trying to get this dive from Chasm, they just have absolutely no one that they can actually lock down, and we're seeing that Isaac, anticipating Sheer Cold are just going to run super aggro, is off the Kiriko onto the break to try and play Bash.
Interesting swaps coming through from them. The May wall from Kaiser to enable that like pillar side dive from their team. In fact, Chasm moves towards the point with his own May. Pulse Bomb connects on to him as well as Ice Nom. Finding Isaac earlier on, Chasm eventually falls. They do get that point flip though, as the rotate has to now come through from Sheer Cold towards it to at least come through and kill that May eventually. Surely about 10% or more on the board will be in favor of Alya. In fact, they actually kind of give a little bit more peel here. Chasm could potentially even touch the point if he wants to, but he's just going to take a fast rotate towards that left side, towards the Baptiste, and try to rotate around, but Sheer Cold are really making this hard on Alya at the moment.
Yeah, good hacks as well coming out from QRX2 to make sure that Chasm doesn't create that space that you're looking for. As we're going to see an EMP come out from QRX2. Sheer Cold again getting incredibly aggressive, just not allowing Alya the time to be able to regroup without a tank.
Yeah, this is great so far for Sheer Cold as QRX2 gets 3 on the board for himself and potentially even a stagger kill now here on Chasm as he's finally left the spawn, left the entire team's spawn doors on the other side and eventually fell.
Yeah, Kaya now onto that Torbjorn. They've anticipated that Sheer Cold are just going to continue throwing aggression at Alya, and they want to be able to use that turret to try to chunk down QRX2 or Muse before they're able to find a pick. But the hack comes down onto Chasm, and again, we see more time burnt away as Alya are forced to wait.
Chasm now sets up towards the health pack, rotates all the way around. Potentially going to go for a slam on a Sobek too, but Sobek's been pretty much just on his own little island the entire game, but the Regenerative Burst almost lives. Sucrex tried to hit him with the Suzu, but was not there in time, as the point still in favor of Sheer Cold as they've rotated the rest of their team towards the point. Muse on the Tracers, able to find Isaac. Kaya zoned out as well from a Diva Bomb as overtime ticks down, then rotates back towards that point as Icedom just looks to delay for a little bit longer, has both of his DPSs, so they're really not out of it yet. Icedom, though, does lose his mech, and eventually surely will fall to Kaya in Chasm. And unfortunately for Sheer Cold, they're going to have to reset while All Yes held on to some ultimates.
Self-destruct did buy them 99%, however, but Oya did an incredibly good job seeing that Sheer Cold are trying to bait ultimate, so these next approaches to the point through the chugs aren't as punishing as Oya are hoping, but they sit, they stay reserved, they keep the ultimates, and Sheer Cold are going to have to cycle through every one of them.
Muse rotates for the point, but Sucrex on that flank yet again, really able to play that aggressive Kariko style to get that teleport off. Has the Suzu himself got hit by a Torbjorn or a Mei from across the map, and oh yeah, still holding that point control as Sheer Cold attempt to go towards that pillar side. They send Sucrex to the point. K's are taking a lot of damage, rotates through, has to use that cooldown as an amplification matrix is popped from Sobek. Kaya drops the Molten Core towards the point and also towards the amplification matrix on the right side, but it's Chasm to find QRX2 early on. You know, you don't usually see Sombras getting picked off by these Wrecking Ball players, but that's a nice opening pick for All Yeah as they set up on that right side. Amplification matrix as well because they've lost Chasm in the fight. So Muse, great work from him, but they try to equalize it well, commit more ultimates into winning this fight. Sheer Cold understand that and try to go for a reset. Does All Yeah win one more EMP from QRX2? Maybe ill-advised, and also commit the Kachune rush last second when they have no members.
Yeah, that's an EMP you probably want back. That's definitely a pulse bomb Muse wants back. He tried to collect it, but unfortunately, the only thing he's going to be collecting is a 30-second respawn penalty, as Sheer Cold are going to have to wait and come into this next fight without that win condition. They've only got to self-destruct.
It's so rough now for them. I mean, Sheer Cold committing so many ultimates to a lost team fight. Icedom now rotates toward the point. They're not out of it just yet. They still can maybe win it here as a rally now from Isaac. Coolboy picks off Muse as, you know, a little bit of a punishment from that Tracer player. The rally of the point as well from Isaac too. Here's the Diva Bomb as well from Icedom to zone, but now no more ultimates on the board. They've already used the Immortality Field. That cooldown is gone. So is the Suzu. And really it's just desperation time for Sheer Cold as they just get staggered by All Yeah. An attempt to touch point. They throw down an Amp Matrix towards that left side, but eventually All Yeah actually win round number 1.
Yeah, I mean, we can't sell it under any different name. Sheer Cold had that, and then they threw it. Unfortunately, like, they use the EMP, and then you can see the panic as they realize we're not going to be able to board another EMP, so they try and double down using a Kitsune to find any value that they can, any pick that they can, so they can stop All Yeah from just playing bounce the check around those chokeholds that Sheer Cold can maybe get back to that point safely, and it just does not work out. As Oya are able to take Sanctum closer than I think a lot of people were expecting. However, when you look at the history between these two teams, we have seen adaptation come through from Sheer Cold, and they showed when they were in control of the space that they were more than adept at being able to deal with all of the hazards that Oya were throwing out.
You're right. I mean, definitely 100% mechanically talented team can match Oya even in some of these more chaotic fights. Sheer Cold, though, maybe on this next round can bring things back in their favor. Maybe a little bit more discipline in the next round as they've warmed up a little bit. As Chasm obviously doing his typical Wrecking Ball things, you know, rotating across the map. All Yeah, though, anti-grenaded by Sucrex in that backline, forced to use the Immortality Field as Kazer's looking for this frontline damage as well as an anti-grenade onto the Ana of Sheer Cold, but Isaac also anti-grenade on his own right, so Icenom's there to punish it, and QRX2 also finds Coolboy. So a great dive onto the supports of, yeah, Sheer Cold again. Gonna win fight number 1.
And again, now we should see Oya struggling to be able to make this composition work because Chasm is now going to be spotted out before he can really find these dives onto either Sucrex or Sobek. And who do you go for? Because the Ana has the sleep dart and so easy to hit Hammond's mid pile drive, and Sobek's just gonna drop the lamp to make sure that he survives and Peel can come through from Sheer Cold.
See if they can walk through this time, obviously without that speed. Be a bit slower here as Kaya now goes to that left side. Actually just takes out QRX2 alone. Was dealing with the Tracer and a Sombra at the same time. Just able to shut down QRX2. Didn't expect that double headshot from the Torbjorn player. Obviously Kaya known for his incredibly diverse hero pool as Kaiser also picks off Icenom. And that's an easy retake off of some nice picks for the DPSs of All Yeah.
Chasm's going to be close to those hammer mines too, so Oya have the means to be able to stall this next fight, as well as that blizzard to cycle into afterwards. Sheer Cold might just go straight to an ultimate cycle coming through from Oya, especially since QRXU gets spotted out before he can build the EMP that Sheer Cold need to cancel that hammer doll early.
Man, yeah, that's a little rough though so far for QRXU, but they do have 35% of the board, so a recontest coming from the high ground. QRXU able to stealth back in. Chasm doing a little bit of somber checking as he's coming back from the spawn. Did get detected actually in that situation, but it's Sucrex to find Cool Boy. They also toss out the nano boost onto Ice Nom, though Kaya's turret finds QRXU. A little bit of counterplay coming from Yeah's DPSs, but Sobek on the other side does find Kaiser on that May, as well as a sleep dart from Sucrex to help for that peel onto Chasm. I mean, you have to deal with the Wrecking Ball at least a little bit, but do they get the kill? Chasm goes incredibly low after getting anti-grenade, but does escape to the health pack as Muse is combining for 2 kills on both Isaac and Kaya. That frontline dive of him and Ice Nom has been working out phenomenally as they recontest that point.
Sheer Cold as well get to see the hammer mines out while still holding on to the EMP, and that means that Oya aren't going to be able to pick up the speed and momentum that they're looking for with this Kitsune rush, because Sheer Cold can just use it aggressively.
EMP onto Kaiser and Isaac on that bottom left health pack as well gives them now the advantage in terms of the point, as Yeah still have some ultimates for the next one.
Well, this is what we saw in Sanctum, right, from Sheer Cold. Just continue to press that aggression before Oya are able to put together a push, because Chasm just hasn't had the time to be able to pull the support's attention away from the front line.
Yeah, that's totally fair. And now Chasm trying to set up on this backside. Amplification Matrix towards the coast. This is a great angle to use Ant Matrix from as they take down Kaya's turret. Now try to peel for Chasm as he made space. Oh my god. Wait, the Blizzard just got eaten by Ice Nom. Fantastic defensive matrix from him, as well as QRXU to find the back line of yeah. Now they're in a very sticky situation. Chasm probably just wants to run and wait for a last second recontest.
Yeah, Chasm hacked out, might not be able to, however, he's just got to wait for that hack to be out. Sheer Cold sitting on a nano booster pulse bomb as well, and this is final fight.
It is final fight. Muse gets that pulse bomb to try to shut it out, shut the door on Yeah as they try to work back towards the point. Nano boost, aggressive gameplay from Sucrex towards that left side, and it's onto it's just a May and Chasm towards the point for Chasm's hack. QRXU gets him eventually, and now we're going to be tied 1-1 going to Village, Moxie.
I mean, we talked about the fact that Anna and Baptiste are more than capable. If you can hit your lamp timings and your sleep dart, they're going to be able to handle a Wrecking Ball alone, and that is the problem. Or yeah, because Chasm is just so good at being able to move with these hammer attacks, a lot of the time he's not working alongside something like a Tracer or a Sombra, so it all comes down to him to actually be able to confirm the kill. If Sheer Cold are able to deal with the Hammond, no one from Oya is actually within distance to peel for him, and they just have to fight without a tank.
You're right. I mean, Chasm kind of just has to be on his own little island, just rotating around to those health packs. But, you know, maybe also like kind of soft counter too, Moxie's with QRXU on the Sombra, just hacking his health packs that he's trying to get.
Hacking his health packs, hacking his Wrecking Ball, it's really problematic for Chasm to have to deal with. And again, he has no one to stop the hack because he's not playing around a Tracer or a Sombra. He's not able to always hit that Sombra and cancel the hack before it goes through.
Oh, you know, Kaya pulling out his classic Junkrat anti-grenade, lands onto the main. Immortality field has to use early. Cool Boy goes incredibly low towards that side. And Muse on the Tracer, by the way, has been looking amazing with these dives of Ice Nom as Ice Nom rotates towards the point, gets the nade as well to stay nice and healthy as Chasm goes for that dive on the left side. But like you said, no follow-up really. It's just Sucrex able to live. Chasm's just being a nuisance, but really that's all he is. He's not really doing a lot of damage necessarily, but it did draw them away from the point at least, but eventually did fall because Sucrex with an integrated and the rest of his team to follow up. Now they don't have Chasm in this fight. Sheer Cold understand, no tank means they can just hold the W key as Cool Boy dropped Immortality Kill. That cooldown is now removed. Sobek still has his as well as he drops into a Junkrat trap. I feel that honestly very hard to look for those sometimes, but they do get that point flip 18%, and surely will find some stagger kills onto Yeah.
Still, that distraction tactic from Chasm did buy Yeah the stall to 18%, and now, however, he comes back into the fight and will get staggered out just slightly. Sheer Cold's sitting on ultimates too. It's going to be down to Kaiser to try and use this Maywall to block out the initial impact of this Ant Matrix, but QRXU is sitting on the EMP, and he can immediately cancel Cool Boys without the cooldown going away, and the window's still standing.
QRXU does have the EMP though. Well, he's a little far away. Amplification Matrix used on the main Kaiser. Actually, he's a little caught out in the middle of the open, forced to use that rally counter dive EMP. from QRXU works out successfully. Isaac and Kazan both fall, and eventually Kaya is surely going to fall here as well. The recontest has been a little bit of a problem for All Yeah in a lot of these fights, Moxie. Wouldn't you say they have a hard time doing so with this comp?
Well, it's incredibly problematic since Coolboy's window was cancelled out by the EMP from QRXU. They were hoping that they would be able to go window to window. The fact that Sheercold aren't running that Mei means that they're not able to do what Kaiser does, wall it off, but it's immediately cancelled out entirely, and they're just not able to disengage in time because they're not running the Lucio. Now we're actually seeing Isaac onto the Zen to try to just deal with these squishies from Sheercold with that Discord Orb, allowing 25% extra damage to everyone taken.
Well, that's a nice pick from All Yeah, at least from the Mei of All Yeah. Hack comes through on Kai on the left side as a nano boost onto Ice Nom towards the point just to delay, but he's actually not just delaying. Getting a kill onto Kai is just a big deal. Also, Junkrat Riptire comes through to deal with Ice Nom, forces that Diva Bomb as well as the Wrecking Ball ultimate is on the point, but Chasm gets slept again. Sucrux with some fantastic sleep so far in this series. Ice Nom also finds Kaya on the point as Chasm, like we said before, only just kind of harassing the backline as the rest of his team is falling apart. They did get the point flip, but now Sheercold will just claim it back.
Kaiser does have the Blizzard in this next fight, however, and Sheercold aren't really running anything to be able to deal with it other than the Defense Matrix, and Icenom has been an absolute standout at being able to use that Defense Matrix to deal with Oya's win conditions.
Sheercold now setting up towards the point, and Kaya, nice pick actually on the Sucrux towards that main side. Chasm now will touch the point, has the Harmony Orb on him to support his efforts a bit more, but Kaya, nice little 2K again as he walked in, finds both Muse and Sobek. Eventually, Icenon did find him, but not after it was too late. The recontest is surely going to be successful here. Icenom does get staggered there as well, as they did get up to 99%. Oh yeah, will now get the flip.
Well, Oya now have the difficult task of climbing that point percentage bar, however, and they have ultimates, multiples of them, but they can't afford to throw all of them into this next fight, otherwise Sheercold are just going to soft reset.
Oh yeah, setting up on that main high ground. Isaac, maybe the Zenyatta pick actually is kind of countering what Sheercold is attempting to do with these dives, the Discord or the Harmony Orb, also to help Chasm as well as the hack comes through into Chasm on the point. QRXU immediately rotates away to not lose his stealth, goes on to Coolboy on the right side with Ice Nom, but as Kaya was really low, QRXU actually has to fall away because of the Discord shots from Isaac. Kaiser on that front line also used the Mei ultimate, but he's EMP'd towards the point, however, eventually gets it back, and Isaac with the aggressive Zenyatta play finds that kill onto QRXU as Kaya with the Riptire as well connects on to Ice Nom, and it's kind of flipped on its head so far. Oh yeah, now have the lead.
I love that window use from Coolboy. He throws out the Amp Matrix to bait the EMP. Oh yeah, know it's going to be coming out to cancel the ultimate, and as a result, Isaac does not get hit by it and gets to just keep volleying those orbs into Sheercold, who are yet to be able to find any form of strategy against the Zenyatta that's successful.
Sheercold taking a bit of split approach towards the point as an Nano Boost comes through, forces the Transcendence on the side of Oh Yeah, as Ice Nom still holding onto that Diva Bomb, rotates towards that point. All of the cooldowns out of Kaiser are used as Sobek now throws the Immortality Field aggressively into the backline. Diva Bomb to zone, they got the point flip, potentially also. Muse found Isaac in the backline, both supports gone now for All Yeah. They're all incredibly low, and Sheercold with a fantastic recontest with some great ultimates allowed them to get this point flip, and it looks like they're going to win map number 1. So far in All Yeah in this series, Sheercold kind of get the upset win.
I think this is going to be a close series. Both of these teams are showing that they understand how the other plays, and we're going to see a lot of adaptation coming through. One of the reasons that Sheercold was able to deal so well with all of these separate win conditions from Oya's side is this player right here. QRXU Sombra was on absolute fire. Really good hacks, really good EMPs, canceling that BAP ultimate so you don't have to worry about it despite lacking that Mei. But we have to highlight Sucrax. I mean, every single time we saw him, flipped up, anti-nade, Chasm gone.
Fantastic Ana play. I mean, honestly, the whole team was looking good. You called it, Moxie. I think that, like, Sheercold knows how All Yeah plays. I mean, maybe teams have kind of figured them out through time, and I think really, like you said earlier on as well, with QRXU, he's been a big catalyst to why Sheercold has been doing well. I think previously we've seen QRXU on the Sombra, but I would say that his other hit scans have looked even better at times. His Sombra, I think, looks heavily improved leading into these playoffs. Yeah,
but we saw, oh yeah, just that the reason why they've been so successful this season, in my opinion, actually comes down to their backline. Chasm's ball has been impeccable in regular season, but the problem for Oya in the past has always been that they've been one hero only players. So when teams are able to figure out the strategy against them, they're able to just run it and run it and run it. They know exactly what they're going to go up against. They don't have to worry about any potential surprises. But having someone like Isaac come through and be able to swap between the Zenyatta, the Kiriko, whatever he really wants to, means that you can see something like, okay, this isn't working, go back to the drawing board, pick something else out. Suddenly, that's when we saw Sheer-Cold taking a couple of fights to really find their footing against this team. So moving forward, I think we're in for a long matchup between these two.
I would easily agree with you as well, since the next map is going to be King's Row. They picked it on the opposite side of Oh Yeah, and for this team, obviously, you want to feel good about that with having that what was it, like the Torbjorn or the Junkrat on first point. I mean, you could really pick either, Moxie, for first point King's Row, and Kaya does have both of those heroes available to him. And, you know, I would say that a lot of their weakness, I guess, came from the Rika test. It actually took a Zenyatta pick on the previous map before they actually started to get those Rika tests down, and they kind of struggled otherwise. Now moving to a King's Row, you can play that defensive, almost 2CP style with Kaya playing that the J. Raddington III or the Torbjorn.
I mean, King's Row as well not only allows Kaya to be able to find more room to be able to throw those nades down, it also sets up the Mei. Mei is star in center of King's Row, especially that point A, if you're able to wall people off as they come through the choke. Really good for them. And we're going to have to see, I think, a little bit more communication and timings between Oh Yeah in terms of how they actually want to initiate Chasm's dives. Because one thing that I did see when they swapped over to that Zen was that they understood that QRXU, if left alone, would always be able to go after the ball. The hacks would always be on cooldown to be able to make sure that Chasm doesn't find the value that he does. But making QRXU have to choose between going after a Zen or a ball, they overloaded the Sombra, and as a result, he stopped finding that insane amount of value we'd seen at the start of Village.
Huh. That's a very interesting point. I guess like he has too many good things, right? He's looking either for the Wrecking Bus like the Sombra. It's just like, oh my god, there's so many good targets. You know, who do I pick? And you know, obviously for their side, for Oh Yeah's side, like we said, like that Rika test was a bit hard. And you said that Chasm's dives, you know, might have been not followed up upon, to be honest, but that's because of the comp, right? I mean, it's just super hard for him to be able to have that full follow through with like either a Tracer or something, because he has a Mei and a Junkrat. It's kind of a weird comp, isn't it? It kind of works against itself, right?
Yeah, so essentially you can do what sometimes Wrecking Balls and Widowmakers like to do, and we have actually seen it in pro play on places like Rialto, where a Wrecking Ball goes in, comms that he's going to use pile drives those players up like flipping a pancake. The Widow lines the shots up and finds that headshot super easily because she knows when to be able to flick upwards. If we see something like that, either with the Junkrat's mines being able to connect onto a player unable to strafe away from them, or even just the Mei's Icicle primary, that one tap that you can potentially get hit by halfway across the map, then we're going to see Oh Yeah really able to follow up on the room that Chasm's providing. The problem is it wasn't the pile drives that we were seeing. He would just roll through players and knock them around a little.
Yeah, exactly. He's just kind of playing the distraction almost for them. And you said the Mei too, I think, for Kaiser as well. I mean, he's proven so far. I think he's a fantastic Mei, but this always brings up the discussion, Moxie. Like, I'm curious what your take is on this, and I'm curious what actually everybody's take on this. Let's have a debate if you want to use our hashtag OWPTP2023 to let us know what you're thinking. I feel like a lot of these Mei players, you can be super good on the Mei, like a really standout Mei player, but it's almost like these Meis just can't carry the games. Like, it just feels like they can't pop off as much as either a Junkrat, Tracer, or even at times Sombra can.
I mean, I would argue the opposite. I've seen Meis being able to clutch things out. The fact that we talked about, like we said, Amplification Matrix just being cancelled by a cooldown, or a Mei being able to stall, especially for Oh Yeah, when they're running Chasm on the ball, they have so much stall to their side, right? If Case is able to cycle through, wall to block, ice block, and then Chasm's able to come back in, She-Cold are never going to actually be able to unlock a point cleanly.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I think it's always up for debate for me. Like, and a guy, like, it's just very hard, I guess, on that roll to kind of pop off to an incredibly high degree. Sheer-Cold, though, going to be locking the same composition they did previously, and it worked out successfully them on map number 1, so why not run it again? Oh yeah, meanwhile, have Isaac on the Zenyatta. King's Row first point, really not a great point for Zenyatta, I suppose, just because they can rotate through that high ground, I guess, but really not a lot of super, super good like angles, I guess you could look for. A lot of shots. Chasm yet again gets slept and integrated by the team of Sheercold. Maywall used by Kaiser as well to save Chasm potentially, but he's also used his ice block, so cooldown's removed. Chasm now rotates all the way away, but he's looking for somewhere safe and has only found safety in the main of the other side. But Isaac, like we said, Zenyatta, not a lot of great angles here. I mean, like, what's he doing? Just chilling on the angle, just trying to live. Can get discords off for Chasm, but not a lot of damage output for him.
But he can spam. You can spam up the staircase where the Sombra wants to try himself. He's stopping Muse from being able to actually double blink across that space and take the high ground away from yeah. And as a result, Sheercold are stuck with Sucrax out of line of sight from Icenom.
Well, Kaya does find Muse on that left side, or actually in the clock tower rather, as Icenom try to go to the inside there. Nano boost used as well from Icenom, even though they're down in numbers. He goes incredibly low, but does have the heals towards the point. The Discord or bottom, that's why as well they're running the Zenyatta too. So Chasm now towards the statue side, tries to control a little bit of space. No points percentage either for Sheercold just yet, as they try to dive on Kaiser, but every time they force his cooldowns, he's just not killable. Throws his wall down immediately into a blizzard as well, and the point is owned for himself. And Sobek tries to find some individual damage on the left side. Isaac dropped out the window, did fall, but the rest of all have already collapsed on Sheercold.
Yeah, here we go. Isaac got taken down by QRXU, who'd gone on a solo mission to take the Zen down, and is now potentially looking for that spawn camp, and as a result, you're having to divert resources from holding that point and making sure that the Zen gets safely back.
QRXU waiting for that, like you said, yeah, just escorting Isaac towards the high ground. The hack now comes from Chasm because he's a little separated, but he's a Wrecking Ball, has like a bajillion HP. In fact, he finds Muse on the left side. Kariko Kitsune rush on the high ground into Cool Boy's immortality kill. He doesn't know where to go. Try to jump out the window, but now it's a 1 versus 1 with Icenom and Kaya into the trap now. Doesn't die to it though. Gets a little bit of spray down as well as Isaac's found Sobek. They're coming back into this fight. Throw the Diva Bomb down, but Isaac has Transcendence to avoid it temporarily. And in fact, gets the kill on the Chasm, who is coming towards that Transcendence. Nice job from Icenom to get that pick. Kaiser, though, again, standout Nave player, finds that pick onto QRXU into the back line as he tries to rotate through. Not even give up a tick, potentially, because they have the Implication Matrix. And yeah, as long as Kaiser touches, oh no, they do eventually give up a tick, but at the same time, Icenom does eventually get killed. Isaac finds Sobek as well, and this is a fantastic first point hold for so far.
That's the stall I talked about. Maywall sets Kaiser up to be able to survive. Coolboy's able to drop the Amplification Matrix, and Sheercold have burned all of the ultimates that they had available to take that high ground and cut through Oya's defenses. Now they have to swap Muse onto the Echo to be able to access this high ground and make sure that they can get into where the support is playing safely from.
QRXU pokes from that archway at the May again. They force Kaiser's ice block in the hotel room, but he's able to just back out of there as Chasm drops the Wrecking Ball mines in the main. The rest of Sheercold have regrouped together. A bit of a change up in terms of competition with Muse on the Echo. Nano Boost comes through onto Icenom towards that hotel side, but he's frozen by a blizzard. Decides last second to look away so they don't get any headshot damage. Has the double pocket as well. Sobek is dove upon from main from Chasm, and now a Riptire from Kaya. It's just so many things you have to worry about. Sobek cannot deal with them all. Eventually will fall to the Riptire, and also a Junkrat concussion mine is Muse. So that's 2 kills for them so far. Towards the point Icenom will go, but that's just right into the face of Kaya, who has been dominating on this point A, and they get the first point hold over Sheercold, even though they got 40% tick rate.
It's not just the Junkrat, it's also the fact that they're running that Zen. So normally an attacking team has two...
No, please, Moxie. No way is that Zen the reason why. Discord,
no, listen to this, right?
Okay,
normally
listening.
an attacking team, right? They have a couple of options to actually push on to point A. They can either try and take the high ground and push onto the supports, or they can go straight to the point and force a drop down. The problem is, if they go towards the point, Isaac is going to Discord them, and they have no way of actually being able to shove the Zen away. It takes them so long to actually send QRXU all the way up, entirely undetected, that Sheercold get 3, maybe 4 good pushes, and all the while they're not building that EMP. Chasm gets absolute free reign to go after the supports, and Sheercold just don't build the win conditions that they need to break through. That Zen worked perfectly.
Okay, Anna. Okay, sorry, I was talking to my dog. My dog was barking, obviously. Sorry, I just called you Anna because my dog's name is Anna. I apologize, Moxie. But you're right. I will concede that the Zenyatta had its value. It's found its value. I guess it's just individually as Zen main, I'm like, okay, I'm not finding my own damage. But really, if you're getting that...
I mean, here's the thing. It is very much a full hold composition, right? If you lose that Zen, you saw what happened. Chasm had to go play escort duty. As it was a little bit dicey in that fight afterwards, but Isaac only really got taken down by QRXU early once. And now, oh yeah, need less than 2 ticks to be able to walk with Kim's rope.
Yeah, but they are on the offensive side, so maybe this could go in the favor of Sheer Cold a bit in terms of how the compositions are played. Kaya, though, rotates all the way around as Sobek now has to avoid a concussion. Mine gets blasted into the air as Isaac's already found Ice Stomp's mech. This is already not looking good for Sheer Cold on first point. King's Row, Immortality Field. Use QRXU again, though. Finds that opening pick onto Isaac like he's done previously, though. Cool Boy has found Ice Stomp on the trade, so far, now the rotate from Kaya onto the high ground. A sleep dart from Zukrex again. I mean, he's hit so many. Finds that trade onto Kaya. What a crucial pick from him. Now goes for some DPS and a gameplay as well as Sobek dropping towards that point. 2 delays since he could jump back up, but it's Chasm in that Discord review mentioned before. Sobek had to drop and die instantaneously. QRXU also will fall to Kaiser, and now, like we mentioned, it's kind of a rough spot for Sheer Cold. Muso does find Kaiser. That's a great trade in the fight so far. Pulse bomb from Muso. Doesn't have the recall, though! Oh my god, almost fell. Everything is going kind of wild at the current moment for Sheer Cold, and unfortunately, it doesn't work out for them because that's exactly what Oh Yeah wanted. They're on that point. Nobody can touch QRXU. Comes through from that clock tower. We didn't see him off camera, but now will show up, and eventually, Oh Yeah will tie up this series 1-1.
Okay, I'm gonna continue my TED talk of why that Zen worked. Because we were complaining about Chasm not getting follow-up. But when those targets are discorded, Chasm doesn't need the follow-up because they're already taking 25% extra damage. So a pile drive, a couple of clips, and they're gone.
Moxie, listen, I get it. I'm an idiot, all right? I get it, all right? I mean,
no, come on, hit us up on Twitter with the hashtag OWPTP2023. Give me more good reasons for why that Zen comp was such good ingenuity from Aya, because I love it so much.
I will say, I mean, like, I understand, like, the big way that Aya plays, right, is obviously just around, it is around, like, Kaya, right, on the Junkrat. I think that, like, obviously, I played previously with Sugar Free for the now Toronto Defiant, and he has he hasn't played a lot of Junkrat recently, a fantastic Junkrat, and we had a very similar strategy on Temple of Anubis, which the strategy was, Moxie, incredibly high-level strategy. The strategy with Sugar Free on Junkrat was just, Lenny, go kill. Sugar Free, go kill. And that's what Aya did. They just said, Kaya, go kill. I'll give you Discord Orb, I'll give you Harmony Orb, and it'll work out. But obviously for them, tying the series up 1-1 is great. We'll see what Sheer Cold takes us to next. After a break, when we come back, we'll be here with that map number 3.
Has your music lately been sounding off? Melodies sounding out of tune? Shows ending without a swoon? Missing your beats? With no way to improve your feats? Well, just you wait until you get your hands on the brand new Overwatch Contenders Lucio skin! Obtaining such a masterpiece is as easy as connecting your Battle.net account to Twitch. After that, watching Overwatch Contenders will contribute to your drops progress, letting you claim each outstanding offer, including the luminescent and lustrous lime locks of Lucio, equipped with the latest and greatest hardware and software. The Overwatch Contenders Lucio skin will be sure to heighten your harmonies and fire up your fans.
If you want drops, and I'm sure plenty of you do, make sure to tune into all of these live events on the right side of your screen you're seeing, including this one, Moxie. We have some drops going on in the Twitch chat, so make sure if you're watching on Twitch to be aware you are available for drops here for this very broadcast and future broadcasts as well for the Overwatch Contenders Heroes and the Calling All Heroes Challenger Series. And Moxie, I mean, oh my god. What matchups we have so far? Oh yeah, and Sheer Cold for the current game. Obviously tied up 1-1. Seeing a little bit of mind games going on now. A little bit of map picks coming through. Obviously for Oh yeah, they're deciding what to... Or Sheer Cold is deciding what to go to after that King's Row. Curious what they go to, considering King's Row got first help. Not exactly what you'd want to see.
Yeah, Mei, Zenyatta, that Kaya Junkrat as well, just able to continue to spam through those really tough to push through chokes, expending a lot of utility very early on from Sheer Cold, and making them have to wait. Every single time they would go for a choke, they'd have to wait for either that Sombra to be able to translocate again, or the Tracer Blinks to come back through, and that just meant more time, more setup for Oh yeah to be able to just keep spamming either just the Junkrat, the Mei Icicles, or the Zen Volleys, and it really worked out incredibly well for them. But having lost that map, Sheer Cold now get to decide where we go to next, and it is going to be, a drumroll please, Havana, where typically you can tend to get some pretty good dives coming off. We've moved away from the always solid Sigma meta to a lot more Winston flavored, Diva flavored as well, to be able to use your boosters, reach the high grounds, and also send things like Sombra and Tracer with a little bit more backup into those backlines.
I'm glad you bring it up, because Sigma, yeah, like it was mentioned, kind of fallen out of favor, and that's because I would imagine, Moxie, that it's because a lot of these teams have gotten super good at just, you know, getting that rush down, getting a lot of this brawl comps down on this map, where you'd think it's pretty rangy, but at points in second phase and I guess in first, you can just totally avoid the Widow, right? Like you could do, you know, you could set your Sombra up on a flank. You can set, in terms of Oh yeah side, they could just set up their Wrecking Ball all the way in the backside. You don't always, I guess, have to run the Widow comps, and especially when teams, knowing, like First Point in particular, you can get like 3 good fights, 3 legitimately good fights, and there's not a lot of maps that you can just get 3 fights in with a brawl comp that are clean per se, and this is one of those maps where that you can. So really it allows for a lot of versatility against a lot of these more rangy spam comps like you would see on potentially Junkertown with a Widowmaker.
Well, it's not just that, it's also the fact that you're likely going to run into an opponent who's either running a Sombra or a Tracer, or both. Yeah. And as a result, that Widowmaker is never going to be able to just hold an angle and wait for someone to walk into view, because the Sombra or Tracer are just going to get behind you and one-clip you. Because as a Widow, you're not playing close to your team, right? You're playing those off angles, you're playing towards the side. No one is going to be able to turn around and peel for you in time, and even if they are able to, do you really want to waste one of those really costly cooldowns on saving a Widowmaker? And it makes sense that they maybe don't want to run that Widow against Oya, because Kaya is going to be playing either that Junkrat or the Torbjorn, which means consistent spam through those angle sites to make sure that a Widow or a Casti or even a Hanzo doesn't get the time to line up those shots.
It seems like to me, Moxie, that Oya are kind of working on the fly right now, where they run either, like you said, that Torbjorn or the Junkrat, and it seems like on the more range maps that they want to run Kaya on the tour, but Kaya himself at times even readjusted and made the swap over to the Junkrat. Do you think that's either more because of a comfort pick, or do you think this is like a strategic thing where they just start on one and then if it's not working, they just purposefully like swap to the other just to enable their team?
The swaps come through mostly like every other team. If you're struggling to deal with something, you counter swap. And for Oh yeah, their counter swap against the Sombra and Tracer is the Torbjorn turret. Because if the Tracer has to come through to actually attach that pulse bomb, a lot of the time you do have to use a couple more of your blinks than you want to, so you don't get peppered down by that turret spray.
Yeah, and the Charlie Niner coming back. If Oh yeah wins, they can turn the frown on their logo upside down. Oh my god. Yeah, they could. It's kind of a sad emote, isn't it? Kind of a little sad.
Yeah, a little bit of a frown.
Sad boy. Sad boy. Thank you for the tweet, though. Make sure to use our hashtag OWPTP2023 if you would like to see your tweet on the broadcast. Very easily to show up if we just want to tweet. As long as it's understandable, you know, make sure it's comprehensive. You know, Oh yeah, I would appreciate it if they do win here and get that smile in the front upside down. Oh yeah, is going to be running the Junkrat, Moxie. Looks like on the defensive side.
Yeah, no spawn hold either, as Sheer Cold I think they're anticipating it, but QRXU is actually going to be just going for that Junkrat early on to make sure a little bit more spam comes Oya's way, so Chasm isn't able to find that opening dive, and Sheer Cold can make it through one of the more problematic areas of Havana attack, your spawn point onto that payload.
It's not very often you talk like, oh my god, QRQ took him a random Zen orb to the dome, and he had to back out of there immediately. So now you don't have your Sombra in this fight. Muse on the right side, dealing with the entire team of all. Yeah, it's really hard to fight on inside angles versus Junkrat, but he's doing so. Has to recall, though, eventually from that angle, as Icenom is aware the Junkrat's in there. Sleep door from Zukrex! What a sleep! Kaya also goes down to Icenom on that flank. Amazing work from this Ana so far. I've been so impressed with Zukrex.
Every single sleep, every single time we're in his first-person POV, he's hitting his sleep dart, and it's so instrumental in the push that Sheer Cold won.
Yeah, exactly. And now Sheer Cold get that cart moving forward. Moxie, they're about to get it past the first corner. Oh yeah, really only have one more fight here.
Kaiser is pretty close to that Blizzard, but they're going to be coming out of these long distances, which means more time for Sucrex to be able to land either a sleep or an anti, and Chasm's not on the Diva, so no defense matrix, no Suzy either, so they're going to have to take the full hit of it.
Translocate from QRXU is in a perfect spot to go back for Chasm onto the high ground with Muse, but no Discord orb on him means he can rotate around a little more freely until just about now, when he's an anti-grenade again from Sucrex, but the Immortality Gold is there to save him, and Kaya also picks off Muse. The Nano Boost from Icenom into the back line tries to find some value, but everybody's escaping just in the nick of time. A hack comes through on the payload, as well as a Blizzard now here from Kaiser, but an anti-grenade from Sucrex into that front line of Alya means they're incredibly low. A Transcendence is here from Sobek, as well as the Diva Bomb connects on the Cool Boy, so both Kaya and him are gone. Chasm, though, does find the Sombra, who has surely been a thorn in the side of him in the entire matchup, as Kaiser eventually will fall on that payload. Sheer Cold eventually will kill Chasm, and now get that first point. As if get on the payload. Okay, there we go. There we go. We get to the second point. Finally, Sobek. Nice little 2K at the end.
Yeah, gorgeous self-destruct from Icenom, making sure to take down Coolboy before he's able to drop that Ant Matrix, as we're going to have a look at Sucrex.
Sleep, so he gets hit by the Diva Bomb.
Sleep, so he gets hit!
Dude, he was almost around the cover, too.
Yep. Like I said, Sucrex is sleep every single time we're following his POV. Instrumental sleeps, fight-changing sleeps.
Great player so far, but you know who's also been amazing is Kaiser on that Mei. Finds an opening pick onto Muse on that left side flank. We talk about these Mei players being incredibly well. Kaiser's definitely one of them, as they haven't had to use any ultimates because they found the opening pick.
Are we gonna see another sleep come through from Sucrex? No, it's gonna be the anti-nade onto Kaiser first. Try and force out that block as quickly as possible so Muse can come in with the pulse bomb.
Chasm's 1 HP on the back and actually dies. QRXU on that left side. I think it was towards the open space, more towards first point where he fell. Now, Kaya tried to use the Riptire, but he's hacked by QRXU. He's doing everything at the moment. Nice hack from him to cancel the Riptire of Kaya.
Yeah, Kaya goes down as well. Icenom using those boosters. The good work. Junkrat spam removed from yeah, which means that an Ant Matrix is a lot easier to just roll through and contest.
There's a really hard job for Icenom at the moment. Oh my god, Coolboy now has to 1v1 him. Doesn't want to use the regenerative burst just yet. Give some of those heals to his Zenyatta to make sure he gets that Transcendence. Really smart from him, actually, by the way, to not use that cooldown. Now Isaac will have Transcendence for next fight, and yeah, also have a Blizzard.
Yeah, good hammer mines as well from Chasm to make sure that Sheer Cold's backline weren't able to assist Icenom and trying to take down Coolboy and limit the use of that amp. But Kaiser sitting on that Blizzard, Icenom so close to self-destruct, doesn't want to use it until he sees that Mei ultimate, because you can see Kaiser just waiting until the Diva's passed. He's going to just drop down and drop the ult.
He does force Transcendence and Immortality from the backline, though, as Kaiser now goes aggressive with that Blizzard, like you mentioned, but it's a Transcendence here to try to counter it. However, Kaya through, I believe, the Transcendence, gets the kill with the Concussion Mine and that Mei damage. But Icenom with a Diva Bomb and also while self-destructing, gets the kill on the Kaiser, and then from across the map picks off Isaac. So great Diva work so far from Icenom, who really has a lot on his plate in terms of his overall role. Great job from Sheer Cold. Now 2 minutes left on the second point.
Bunny Blaster buff as Chasm tried to go for a little bit of a spawn camp towards Oya's split members. Not going to be able to find the kill that he's looking for, however. Sheer Cold's Icenom is just bodying that back entrance to make sure that Oya aren't able to find the stall on the payload, but Kaiser's able to make it through, uses the block, uses the wall, the stall begins now.
They finally punish him, though. He had to use both those cooldowns, like you mentioned, and Muse is there with the Pulse Bomb, but it's connected with an Immortality field, and all of those cooldowns used means Muse is able to run freely with Ice Thumb in the backline. And in fact, Chasm tried to dive Sobek, but could not win that 1 versus 1. Pure Cold captures second phase.
Sobek has that Nano boost as well to give potentially to Ice Gnome if they want to go more aggressively. Well, yeah, unable to really take full advantage of one of the advantages of this map for the defenders. We're going to have a look at the replay. Yeah, here's already used that wall, already used that block. Hack comes down, Sleep Dart too, to make sure that Kea is not able to try and escape outside of that Pulse Bomb radius. And now there's the Nano boost that we're expecting. Just a sheer aggression from Sheer Cold with absolutely no slowdown.
I mean, the game plan from Sheer Cold is definitely just to build Nano and send in Ice Nom. Now an aggressive EMP with the Translocator from QRXU forces the Ice Block. Kaya also falls on the left side. He tried to escape over the wall, but could not. And now the rest of Aya are going to continually back up. Potentially even get staggered here because Sheer Cold are healthy. They send in the Diva Bomb aggressively into the backline. QRXU finds Cool Boy as well as he was retreating from the Diva Bomb. And now Kaiser's stuck on the inside. This is terrible for Aya if they get staggered, which they're inside. Maybe they could sustain, but now they're against the Pulse Bomb from Muse, who throws it. Maybe as Kaiser comes out, it's perfectly timed. How often do you see a Pulse Bomb connect on a Mei right after he comes out of the Ice Block? And Nano Boost came through onto Chasm as he went aggressive, but now the Transcendence to potentially counter it, though. It's Kaya during that fight finds Muse, who was deep in their backline.
Oh yeah, as well, holding on to as many ultimates as they can so they can outlast this fight and still have something in the tank for the next. It's Sheer Cold. Now have to wait QRXU onto the Widowmaker. This is what we typically tend to see from the defensive side. But, oh yeah, aren't running anyone who can field towards the Widow, so QRXU is entirely uncontested.
Anti-Grenade onto Chasm, forces him to rotate around. Half HP, he's going to get some heals from Isaac in the backline. Sheer Cold, like you said, you have QRXU waiting with those shots, but hasn't been able to find anything just yet. Asleep, in fact. Peeks for a second is Isaac and connects from across the map. Nice sleep for him, and Ice Nom on the other side, though, does go with the Nano Boost aggressively as Muse found Cool Boy yet again. Ice Nom now try to get walled off, is stuck in the wall actually temporarily. Can't even get through the doorway, I think, at the moment because he's being frozen, but does have the Diva Bomb as soon as he loses that mech to rotate back into his team. But it's Kaya, again, as these fights go on, as the distance, continually progresses, Kaya is there with that concussion mine to find Muse as he tried to rotate on that flank.
Yeah, but Sukrax is able to actually take the Taya down. Here's the dive onto the Widowmaker. QRXU using that Venom by making sure that Chasm almost finds the knockoff. The grapple is still on cooldown though, so QRXU is able to jump right back on top of that cliffside as he finds a pick onto Kaiser. And without that stall and the Infrasight now in play, all you're forced to use the Nano.
They used the Nano to Chasm. Kaya, though, again finds Muse. Sleep Dart again on the QRXU. Isaac, okay, coming back in the series, showing what he has. The Sucrax found the early Sleep Darts. Isaac's finding the super impactful ones later. And they haven't been able to get a lot of cart push. Like, this cart has been stuck at this choke point for Sheer Cold. Now overtime ticks down. Anybody in Sheer Cold touch? They've lost Einon. There's Wrecking Ball mines to stall as well. No, they cannot touch and didn't even make it past this archway.
Okay, these tanks are doing amazingly, but these support lines are really the standouts at the moment, Dustin. Isaac, Sucrax, just doing their best to show that they can hit the better sleep darts. All of these replays, I guarantee you, a good 75% of them are going to be off of the back of Ana utility.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a lot of the flashy plays so far has come through from the Ana play in this matchup. But I do want to point out, like every time that Sheer Cold will find a pick on third point in particular, it's always Kaya there as well with his concussion mines, with his overall spam. It seems like as the fight goes longer and longer and Sheer Cold are not able to find those picks, and Kaya in particular is just able to find Muse or these flankers that keep trying to come in.
I mean, their positioning as well is absolutely solid. We do have to appreciate how that play, it brings me back to, remember when Hanses would use Sonics to lodge into the Mei block so that when it broke, it would actually still be there and headshot the Mei? It's so like that, similar to that. I love those small niche little moments where players are able to take advantage of the specific hero abilities and really counterplay what exactly they're running into. And if you love those moments, let us know with the hashtag OWPTP2023, or maybe it's happened to you and you hate to see it happen to someone else.
I mean, a lot of the Mei players probably not happy with that, but yeah, Muse so far actually on this Tracer has been great until that last point. Obviously, rotate on an inside angle. In fact, give up that cart push temporarily to set up maybe Chasm on that backline.
Oh, hat comes down onto Kaiser, who was looking to try and get this cart pushed, and as a result, can't actually use that block. But at the moment, QRXU is just doing nothing but keeping that pillar contested for as long as possible.
It's so, oh my god, they actually find QRXU. He was a little too aggressive there on the cart. He did not probably expect Alya to rotate for that kill. Sucrex is Discord orbed on him, and Isaac is free to run around, do whatever he wants. There's no sniper on the other side, so he's free to play in the open, really not care about holding specific angles or something, can just freely spam the orbs out, get a Discord orb potentially on the Zen for Chasm to dive on, but free cart push up to this corner.
I mean, at the moment, he just has to worry about the other Zen. And the Sombra. There we go. QRXU comes back in, finds the hack, doesn't find the kill.
It's just too open of a space, I guess, on Sombra to be able to dive easily onto the Zenyatta without Ice Nom in particular. He's playing a little bit of the back. Chasm now with the slam, really distracting the entirety of Sheer Cold. The cart, by the way, has pushed nearly to the checkpoint simply because of a lot of pressure Chasm is putting on the back line. Kaiser as well comes for that left side flank, eventually finds Sucrex and Muse. Ice Nom does trade him back, but eventually will lose his mech, and honestly, very clean first point take if they get past this point from it. Oh yeah.
And not even a lot of pickoffs either coming through from Oya. Like you said, just pressure that they're exuding from two different angles. Chasm in the back, and if Sheer try and run anywhere other than giving up the ground away from that ball, they run straight into the volleys and spam coming through from Kaiser, Kaya, and Isaac. Really good play from Oya to synergize.
Kaiser with the kill on the Muse. You know, it's kind of so weird because you wouldn't think Junkrat, May on Havana would be good. Chasm also finds QRXU. It's not really common. They're going to find him as well with the mines, but no, they eventually get out. But yeah, you don't really see this. You know, it's like kind of a progression in Overwatch, Moxie, where a lot of these players are, by the way, Chasm's at third point. A lot of these players have gotten so good at individual heroes that they don't even care about map geometry or what map they're on necessarily. They kind of just play comfort picks and it works out. Though a Sleep Dart comes through on a Chasm and a hack. They finally take out the Wrecking Ball, but the cart already halfway through second phase.
Oh, and the tire's gonna come through, and it doesn't get destroyed. Sucrex goes down, was able to hit the nano boost onto Ice Nom before they died, however, so Sheer can mount a comeback. They're going to try with ultimates thrown in, but oh yeah, use that Blizzard to peel away Sheer aggression, and now just wait out the cleanup.
Kaiser gets those 2 kills as well, and Card already picking it through. I swear, like, we haven't seen one full team fight. It's just so scrappy from Oh Yeah. And Chasm also finds QRX, whose translocator kills him afterwards. Yet again, we'll make it through this second phase. The snowball gives them now 5 minutes on third phase.
So Oh Yeah are a team that exude chaotic neutral energy. In my opinion, and they really do know how to make organized team fights the most scrappy thing in the universe. And for Sheer Cold, it's down to try and organize any sort of team synergy that they can against Oya, just continuing to throw all of these different angles at them.
If there's anywhere they could do it and hold, Sheer Cold can hold in this third phase. QRXU, by the way, is now on the leg. Soldier 76, not Sojourn, is going to be played on the high ground as well, maybe to enable his team a bit more. But look, Ice Nom's already lost his mech. The rest of All Yeah came back for the peel with the Discord orb, and now Chasm's going to set up on that back line. He's pressured, though, with that Discord orb from Sobek, but he's just in the open. QRXU trying to go super aggressive, does find Isaac, but trades his life as the cart does push further.
He's going to be pretty close to Tank Visor after a couple of shots into this next fight, but Oh Yeah are incredibly close to all of the ultimates that they need to be able to complete this full push. So it's going to be up to Muse to buy QRXU the time necessary to take advantage of these long sight lines.
Aya, though, came for that flank onto Sucrex. Sucrex took out Kaiser on the backside. Isaac also gets Sobek and Nano Boost from Chasm. Though the Pulse Bomb comes out, forces Transcendence from Isaac, so that's 2 ultimates, the both support ultimates used from Oh Ya's side, as the cart not getting any space at the current moment, waiting for Kaya to come back is now Oh Yeah. Chasm has the mines, and also Kaiser got a Blizzard.
Sheer Cold can take advantage of the fact that Muse's Pulse Bomb did force the Transcendence out from Isaac, so they're not going to have it to be able to body through either a Nano Visor or a Nano Diva that gets sent their way.
But they have the Blizzard on the point here. You know, he drops towards the low ground to maybe deal with Kaya, but this is where Kaya wants to be. How is Sucrex not aware of that? He should know Kaya wants to hang out down there. Blizzard also connects onto the back line, and Kaya's with a Riptire. He killed absolutely everybody in the lobby. And Oh Yeah, get the full team wipe and the win on Havana.
Yeah, I mean, the first round, it was the Annas trying to one-up the other, but the second round, all of the spotlights were on this player. Kaya's tires, Kaya's spam, Kaya's flanks. Like you said, I think Sucrex noticed it's a little bit too late. They heard the spam, they went to try and investigate. probably to try and sleep him as well, because they know that he's setting up for a tire from that same angle, because Sheercold had shut down a tire from that angle previously.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And I think also, a big thing too is that they have to worry about the payload, right? Everybody's focused on the payload. You have to touch it. And a lot of these, contenders teams, it's not always exactly obvious who has to touch the payload, considering, in 5 versus 5 Overwatch, we see so many people getting off the payload, whether it be a back cap, whether it be a C9, whether it be something. Seems like it just happens way more frequently in Overwatch 2 because of the one less player. And now, Moxie, they're up 1. Look at match point now over Sheercold. Obviously, as a 2 seed, that's exactly what they expected. But Sheercold made map 1 competitive. However, the last 2 maps have been all on the side of
I mean, like I said, Ouya have been really hitting their stride in terms of tempo. They've disrupted every single plan that Sheercold tried to synergize with. There's a reason that they sent Kaya on that flank, that timing, because they knew Transcendence is off the table. Sheercold's win condition is going to be the big, bright, glaring nano visor. If they can take the Ana out before that nano attack visor is built up, they're going to be able to see themselves through point C. Because imagine this, right? Nano visor comes through, Transcendence isn't there, everyone gets taken out by on Ouya's side, and they have to reset. And that means that QRXU gets to take advantage of the height of the sightlines into the spawn and can potentially pick a player off every single time a fight's about to start up, and Ouya can never finish off the map. Really good timing coming through from them to put a stop to any of the defense that Sheercold could put into play.
Yeah, a fantastic job from them so far, and obviously the strategy's working. They maybe thought first map they maybe had to experiment. That's probably why they dropped that map number 1 at the end of the day, and Kaya's opted away from ever playing the Torbjorn again. Maybe he could do it on New Queen Street, which will be our next map. That's the map that Sheercold thinks they can win on. Moxie, what do you think that Sheercold can maybe change or mix up to deal with Ouya, or is the mountain just insurmountable at the moment? It's just too difficult for Ouya to actually be countered with their current team composition and players?
Well, we've already seen that they can deal with it, right? We saw on map number 1, when Sucrex was having that time being able to compose himself, hit those sleeps, hit those antis, deal with Chasm, Kaya and Kaiser were just never finding that same value that they were on Havana. Another thing that you have to worry about is Isaac just on this Zenyatta continuing to spam down. I wonder if we're going to see him go over towards the Kiriko, however, on push, because you can still play the Zen. The sightlines on New Queen Street are nice and long and incredibly open as well on certain parts of the fights, but there's also a lot of high ground, a lot of different flank avenues for QRXU or Muse to be able to get by unmarked and pick up a Zen very quickly themselves.
That's a good point. I guess for the side of Sheercold, they automatically assume that maybe the Zenyatta it could counter what Ouya are doing. Maybe that's their overall reasoning and thought process, I guess. Because really, a lot of teams are focusing around the damage amp. Obviously, with Sombra, with the Zenyatta, a lot of people think in the current meta, that's kind of the way to go. But obviously for them, it's been so hard to deal with the likes of Kaya, with the likes of their backline as well of Ouya's team. I mean, we'll have to wait and see, obviously, if they can change things on King's Row. Because I think for Ouya, we know kind of exactly what they're going to play on this next maps.
Yeah, essentially it's going to be, Ball, Torbjorn, May, like the same sorts of things that we've been seeing them throughout. It is going to be up to Sheercold to try to figure out what exactly they want to play into this. As we can have a look and see some of the tweets that you have been sending in at home. Mooney Suzuki says, is it just me or is Isaac Newton a genius at the Zenyatta? I agree. I 100% agree. Isaac is absolutely a genius at the Zen. As we've been seeing from King's Row, he has just such a good flexibility on the support role.
Oh yeah, he's been playing so well. And if you want to let us know who your favorite players or just any tweets in general, just let us know. The hashtag OWPTP2023. And now on New Queen Street, we got 10 seconds left, Moxie, till this door's open. For Ouya, it looks like they're playing the same thing they've always run, and Sheercold maybe mixing up their backline a little bit.
Yeah, again, we're going to see survivability as well as a lot of healing, so that Isom has that sort of advantage of having 2 burst healers as opposed to Ouya, who are going to be opting for that glass cannon Zenyatta of a lot of damage as well as Discord to be able to follow up on Chasm's dives.
Yeah,
how is he already over that?
It's just wrecking ball moment, honestly. You know, even with the, what is it, nerfed, you can't, when you spawn up the doors or whatever, you can't use the attachment or whatever immediately afterwards, but now rotates all the way around. QRXU has the hacked health pack over there, so Chasm cannot use it. Kind of scouts it out on this left side. Icenom, knowing they're down, you know, Chasm setting up in that back line, looks for the dive, and oh my god! Boops off Sucrax from across the map as Sheer Cold tried to set up on the coast. That's the one place you don't want to be versus a Wrecking Ball main. Good boop from him. Kai is there with the follow-through onto Icenom's mech. And the robot pushing that little wall is controlled by Oh Yeah first. Double move mechanics too. Sheesh, look at this guy.
Look at his movements. I wish that we could just have a body cam on Chasm so that we can see where exactly he's rolling at all times, because expect this to happen a lot. He's going to be somewhere on the other side of the map, and then he's just going to pop up within 3 seconds and find a kill.
It's a Tucker Chasm reaction cam. That's what we need, basically. We just need to have Chasm's constant POV on like a little, like, streamer cam almost. QRXU, nice pick on a Cool Boy, though. That's a good opening for Sheer Cold to then come back into this, but Isaac's looking for that Sombra, who has definitely been a nuisance, and gets the headshot. No Discord orb on him, though. It's very hard to get that timing down exactly with the Discord, but now gets dove on by Muse. However, Chasm's traded back QRXU, so the longer these fights go, like we mentioned, this kind of enables, oh yeah, unless Sheer Cold can find these kills. They drop the amplification matrix toward the middle of the robot, breaks the ice wall in the fight. Sobek's camera is, is he good? Is homie good? What's going on? He's dead. Eventually to Chasm in that backline. There was no mail there either. Did fall the Diva Bomb from Icenom to the backline. Kaya does find a Muse, though. Does find Cool Boy. Chasm gets onto Sucrex as well. And oh yeah, still hold on to this fight.
They're going to have a Blizzard in the next fight. Chasm does get hacked and goes incredibly low, but is able to actually stay alive. So Sheer Cold not able to remove the tank, and Oya can now really start to pick up an awful lot of distance. Sucrex has the nano. If they want to get aggressive, they'll at least as well have that immortality field on cooldown when the Blizzard comes through. But QRXU needs to hit this EMP onto Isaac, otherwise Transcendence is going to block it immediately.
QRXU waiting down below, gets the hack on a Kaiser first. That's exactly what you want. QRXU and the Diva. Ice Stomp finding that kill, but Chasm again found Sucrex. So that's a 1-for-1 trade for them so far. Immortality Field almost saves Icenom mech, but unfortunately it does not, as well as he doesn't have Diva Bomb, so he loses mech and his life. That's the kill they needed. Isaac dropped the Transcendence, drops back to the payload, gets EMP'd, but has the Immortality Field immediately to follow up, and oh yeah, are just aware of what Sheer Cold is trying to do. Sheer Cold seemed to be reacting instead of being proactive.
Yeah, Sheer Cold see an opportunity. Isaac had actually already had to use that Transcendence, and as a result, QRXU goes for the EMP, hoping to take the Zen down, but it doesn't hit Cool Boy, and the lamp saves the Zen. And now Sheer Cold, with Sucrex actually finding the pick on Takai, can try to push this team back.
Muse also there with the follow-up to Kaiser too. Now we'll push forward into that back line of, oh yeah, that's a 2K for them so far, and Sheer Cold finally finding maybe a bit of stability.
He's going to have that Pulse Bomb. Cool Boy probably going to have to use that lamp to try to counter it, and that's the moment that Sheer Cold are going to be waiting for to actually fully commit in with this dive, but they're going to have to do it quickly, otherwise oh yeah, have the means of setting up a full fight control Blizzard and Hammer Mines with nothing to clear them.
Isaac in the main. Does try to pressure up Muse, but Muse is there with the Pulse Bomb. Immortality Field counters it temporarily. Amp Matrix there as well. So Icenom finally takes out Kaya. And one of these off angles, you always see Junkrat players trying to play on the inside where they know they have space to fall back to. If anybody dies them, a Sleep Dark, by the way, they come through. Isaac, though, does get Sucrex. Sucrex traded out on the backline, so Sheer Cold still have a bit of advantage here. They drop the Amp Matrix to continue pushing forward to get that advantage as well, to try to get the robot in their favor, but Chasm finds Sobex in that amplification matrix. Ice Stomp does trade it back, so Chasm's dead. It's going trade for trade at the current moment. The robot at 44 meters. Now Ice Stomp able to keep pushing that forward, and now will give Sheer Cold the meter advantage.
Yeah, Sheer Cold thought that they could win that fight, even though they'd lost Sucrex. It was actually traded for Cool Boy, and Sheer Cold still had the burst heals of Sobek to be able to sustain through, as opposed to Oya, who didn't have the Transcendence online in time. And as a result, not only have they won the fight, they've also picked up those early checkpoints, which are going to be instrumental in dealing with how quickly Oya can come back into these fights.
Oh yeah, now back towards the main to get the robot under control, looking to flip that checkpoint and get their own on the other side, as they haven't gotten that just yet. Oh yeah, still have the Transcendence Wrecking Ball ultimate on their side too, as Chasm's trying to be the one to push that robot on the other side. Sobek finds Kaiser on that recontest, so great job so far for Sheer Cold, dropping the EMP on the inside as well. T-Rex now doesn't have that ability. Drops the Diva Bomb as well as the Immortality Field is used. Gets his own Immortality Field to stay healthy while he remechs to his views. Able to find Kaya. And slowly but surely, Sheer Cold are working their way back into this match.
Transcendence forced out from Isaac as well, from Sheer Cold being able to throw those ultimates and target focus that Zen's way. And as a result, Oya just did not have, again, that sustainability. As Isaac is off of the Zenyatta, Sheer Cold have done what they've needed to do. They've forced that Discord Orb off the table, and now it's going to be burst heal for burst heal, so that Oya, if they lose one support too soon, can still sustain through.
As the hacked on the low ground falls, actually, even with Immortality Field available, Kaya tries to come back with that Junkrat Riptire, but it's not able to get a kill. It just hits that Diva. Nobody there else to pressure it because Chasm fell and now has to come back from spawn. Coolboy pressured out, by the way, by Q-Rex2 during this fight as the Nano Boost comes through from Ice Nom to go aggressive on that main front. Immortality Field, an aggressive play, in fact, from Sobek in that window. What an aggressive Immortality Field from him. No kills, though, a resultant. In fact, he just has to use the Immortality Field, so that's the cooldown out from him. Meanwhile, they come back to peel for Chasm again and find him. Sheer Cold deal with Chasm yet again, and Ice Nom does not even lose his mech until just about now, but he has a D-Bomb cooldown to deal with the Kaiser. Yeets out that Blizzard into the back line, and in fact, it actually catches Sobek, but as the follow through there, it does get the kill eventually through the damage, but it may not matter because Sheer Cold are able to find the kills. Kaya does get one pulse bomb used from Muse. Yeets that back into the back line, but it's Ice Nom to come back for Kaiser, and the robot's still getting pushed the entire time. Sucrex deals with Chasm in that dive in the back line, and this game is getting scrappy between these two teams.
Yeah, good read from Kaiser. Sees that Ice Nom had used that self-destruct. No defense matrix isn't there to cancel Blizzard, and throws it out so that can anchor around the ultimate, forcing Sheer Cold away. And this means that Kaya now gets control of the high ground to spam.
Nice sleep dart onto Chasm as well with the Ant Speed and Immortality Field used, and again, Chasm is found. Sheer Cold maybe have found the answer to Oya's aggression, and that's just to keep picking off this Wrecking Ball.
I mean, not just to keep picking off this Wrecking Ball, it's on Sucrex. Sucrex's sleeps have just been so on point, and that point is unfortunately named Hammond at the moment, as again, Sheer Cold are able to deal with the squishies and keep pushing Oya back.
106 meters. Now getting to that bus stop. Immortality almost broke. Oh my god, Q-Rex, a little too greedy there with the translocate. He will fall, but you know, Sheer Cold did a good job disengaging so far. Let's see if they can escape from this fight with their lives. Nope.
Good restraint as well coming through from Oya. They know that there's a lot of distance that they have to be able to gather even after winning this fight to be able to deal and equalize with what Sheer Cold have been able to find, and as a result sit on all of the ultimates that they can to have them in this next engage.
2 minutes left now. We are 8 minutes through the new Queen Street as QRXU on this back line, just trying to scout for Sheer Cold, give them some information as Coolboy rotates the rest of his team. A Pulse Bomb attempts to connect to somebody low ground, but it just creates some space. Immortality Field not there in time to save Kaya, and Sheer Cold just catch them when they were not expecting it, just in that main side, able to find that kill. Muse also there to find Coolboy after the Immortality Field was used. Chasm did trade back QRXU, but not before it's too late, and Sucrex again is there for the peel on the backline to make sure Sheer Cold would control that robot again.
Yeah, Pulse Bomb didn't actually attach, but did chunk the health bar down low enough that Iceman was able to capitalize and find that kill, as Tyrus is being used to try to find anyone. Maybe foresight that Immortality Field, buying Oya a little bit of space as Muse tracks down Kaya's location. Ty gets destroyed to add even more salt to the wound.
You know how there's like, okay, well, there's an amplification here into that EMP. Eventually, the Nano Boost and Diva are here to follow through, and New Queen Street has been flipped on its head. Bit of a one-sided affair so far for Sheer Cold. 114 meters for them. Also, these stagger kills are surely going to be detrimental for as they're pushing that robot towards the end. You see the Wrecking Ball ragdoll on the payload as well. A Torbjorn swap from Kaya. Maybe the Junkrat wasn't working on New Queen Street so far, but it doesn't even matter. He falls on that character as well, and Sheer Cold will full cap, bringing us to that map number 5.
Yeah, that Torbjorn swap is the telltale sign that QRXU and Muse are just too problematic on that map for Oya to be able to deal with. They're just not finding the openings that they're looking for. And because Chasm, every single time he tried to find any distraction, was spotted out, marked, immediately slept, anti-naded, and either had to go straight back to spawn the hard way or roll away with his tail between his legs and find a health pack. Really good strategies coming through from Sheer Cold, but we expected it, right? New Queen Street, we talked about it. A lot of flank routes, a lot of different angles, a lot of places where you can pop up unexpected with that Sombra and Tracer and really chunk some extra damage in.
Oh boy. I mean, there's a lot to talk about in the game, and then also real quick, I do want to talk about out of game. Apparently this game, the emotions are incredibly high. Apparently both these teams are talking to each other so much that we just like need to calm them down. As somebody that was like a very passionate player to watch these guys just go at it, you can see it seems like either said something in chat to just upset Sheer Cold, where Sheer Cold's like coming back, and they're playing with anger. Obviously Sucrex getting those sleep darts, really looking amazing at the moment. Map number 5 means so much, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back after a break for this map number 5 to decide who moves forward in the winner's bracket.
Tracer has quickly become one of the most popular heroes in high-level Overwatch 2. It takes insane mechanical skill, cerebral game sense, and ice in your veins to make impact plays with her, but these players make it look easy.
Maimon and Vesto are just playing off of each other perfectly.
W Maimon, by the way, found one who built that Transcendent. And a Pulse Bomb connects onto both Fuki and Turkey. W Maimon on this map, on Havana, truly has been next level.
And just as their eyes glance away, a pulse bomb connects to the back of their head. Canale and Cookie hit the dirt. Rocket trying. Rocket could be a hero in moments like these. Rocket saved the day again! Rocket's gonna chase him out too. Oh, and he Tracer gaps him. Yeah, Rocket's that guy right now.
Welcome back, everybody, to map number 5 between our very first matchup in the winner's bracket between and Sheer Cold. And Moxie, you talked about it before the broadcast, obviously, and even on broadcast. This game was going to be a long one, and boy, oh boy, do we have a long, fantastic first series on our hands.
I mean, like I said, I looked into my crystal ball, and I foresaw a 5 mapper between these two, and I even said at the very start of this broadcast, I think this is going to go all the way. I think this is going to be a very long series indeed, because just from the way we saw these two teams interacting with each other on that first control point, a lot of adaptation. Something that we didn't see from last year, but now that they've been able to pick this roster up, properly grow and flex some of those hero pools as well, they're looking incredibly strong, and you can absolutely see why they went 9-2 in regular season, but Sheer Cold, what a glow up! This team has struggled in the past in Contenders to be able to make it to playoffs. They were able to do it this time around, and you can see why. Sucrex, MVP for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So far for Sheer Cold, and Sheer Cold really have like they're winning through sheer determination almost. Obviously, next map going to be Oasis, our map number 5. It seems like this is a telltale sign of a good series when you have map number 1 going one way side, and then 2 maps in a row goal in the other team's favor, but then that map number 4 comes back, and now we're all tied up for that number 5. I mean, that's a really good sign that this matchup's going the distance. And Sheer Cold, at times looked like they might have been out of it, but like we mentioned before, maybe through the passion via text chat between these two teams, Sheer Cold seemingly become like the god of war and is now coming back for vengeance against who stole those 2 maps that came after map number 1.
Yeah, however, having lost New Queen Street, are able to pick that control map, and no surprises that they decide to take us to Oasis, because they're obviously going to be wanting to run both that Junkrat, but also that Wrecking Ball, and a lot of high ground, a lot of potential environmentally deadly areas as well, if you look at University and those approaches to said high ground, as well as on Gardens and City Center. Lots of room for that Wrecking Ball to freely maneuver around unnoticed. That is the name of the game for Are they going to be able to work around this Ana that has been such a thorn in Chasm's side to deal with, or are we going to see Sheer Cold battle through strategies yet again?
It's all up in the air. Like you said, it's all up in the air. We thought that, maybe Nepal would be favored for It feels like has won a few of the maps, including Havana, where you would expect a team that plays Junkrat, May, and Wrecking Ball to win. I mean, that can't be overstated. How many times have you seen a team with Junkrat, May, and Wrecking Ball win on Havana, besides maybe in like a rank game or something? Like, it's just so... Once.
Literally today.
And it was once, it was today, and if it happened before, it was probably So they just keep, coming back on maps where you would assume they wouldn't be that good. But like we said, Moxie, I do want to kind of make this a talking point here. It feels like teams have gotten so good individually, whether it be Overwatch League, Contenders, all the way down to Open Division, that they can just play any hero as long as they're good enough at it on any map.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can absolutely see it. I mean, some people are able to play Doomfist on any map. Chasm's able to play Wrecking Ball on any map, and this map is going to make it a lot easier for him, right? A couple of places like Antarctic Peninsula, incredibly annoying to be able to safely maneuver that Wrecking Ball, especially with that grapple nerf now that you only get 6 seconds. To actually be able to formulate where you want to swing, and you can't just eternally swivel around and stall out these points, which is another big reason why we saw a lot of teams move away from the Wrecking Ball, since he wasn't as good at stalling as he used to, and Winston was a much more viable option at all other points of the fight as well. But heading over here into Gardens, there are so many rollouts for Chasm to be able to just get on top of Sheer Cold as quickly as possible.
There's so many rollouts, and I don't know any of them. So maybe Chasm can show us some of those rollouts. Make sure to hashtag OWPTP 2023, by the way, to let us know what you're thinking about this matchup between and Sheer Cold, because we're on the map number 5, Moxie, and obviously both teams want to win it to progress in the winner bracket.
I want to know whether Sheer Cold are going to feel confident enough to go for that high ground, because we did see them do it on New Queen Street, and it resulted in a very easy kill for Chasm to be able to pick up.
Chasm already rotating towards that point, but so is QRXU waiting for him there. Kaya comes through from that hookah side, goes to the high ground immediately, but also, actually, he can just play over here. I mean, this is a great angle for Junkrat to play on and just sustain through. Also, to maybe set up a cheeky flank over the top side. Already throwing a concussion mine, forces Ice Nom up to the high ground as Cool Boy and the rest of his team just rotates on the inside angle. Chasm taking a lot of poke damage. Discord Orb already on Sucrux, but not a lot of follow-up because Ice Nom is there with the defensive matrix. But Chasm eventually will find Sucrux, so finally getting the better end of it on this map, and then also slams Ice Nom out of the mech. Great rotations from Chasm on that side, and take full advantage of some phenomenal Wrecking Ball play.
Yeah, Sheer Cold are always going to have a problem when actually trying to get on top of this point. They can't go for that high ground angle because they're playing into Chasm being able to knock them off, so it's only Ice Nom who actually goes on to the point, and then it just becomes a case of being able to cycle those Maywalls to block line of sight for Sucrux and Sobek, making them a lot easier as well for Isaac, Coolboy, and Kaya to keep them spammed out too.
A little bit of poke damage onto Sucrux as he attempts to walk in this time. He knows he's the target of the dives from Chasm and that Discord Orb, so he's just making sure he doesn't get that Discord Orb on him. Usually if you get Discord Orb, you just want to cleanse it by ducking around the corner. Kaya gets him taken out incredibly low. Actually, eventually gets found by Ice Nom with that Sombra of QRXU. Muse also rotated towards that point. That's a great pick that they so desperately needed. Although the Mei has been able to equalize things, so they have to get Kaiser out of here, and they do so with the Ant Matrix from Sheer Cold side, as well as the Pulse Bomb from Muse. Cool Boy will drop down towards the point to just delay unless he gets a kill here. Eventually will fall, even though they have ultimates. They're just looking to drop down under the point. They actually commit the Wrecking Ball ultimate. Chasm finds two somehow. Backline removed. They still have the point under the control. Chasm again finds Ice Nom, and then Kaya here gets a 2K with 1 concussion mine. What the hell did we just see from Chasm?
I mean, that's why he makes Wrecking Ball viable. No matter what map, no matter where you fight, Chasm's still going to be able to find a way to team wipe. Absolutely insane play coming through from him, and that is why Sheer Cold are just so hesitant to actually go against this Wrecking Ball on this point.
As a player, I'm pissed off that Chasm's able to do that. But as a caster, I am so impressed with what he's been able to do so far. QRXU has this EMP. EMP's the back line. No! Immortality Field in time to save him. And he falls. So does Cool Boy. A nice recontest for Sheer Cold here as the Nano Boost came through on the side of Sobek. And Nano Baptiste, by the way, to deal with Chasm. Although as long as Kaya and Chasm were alive, this might have a chance to go Aya's way. He's still pummeling from the high ground. QRXU eventually will find Kaiser. Does Kaya just want to jump off the map? No, he actually just lives with a concussion mine. Eventually will get tracked down by QRXU, though.
Oh yeah, still going to be sitting on both support ultimates as well as Chasm, so close to those Wrecking Mines. Sheer Cold now, however, have to actually set up on the high ground. They have to be incredibly vigilant, though, that Chasm doesn't just roll around the side and knock one of them off.
All right. Recontest now. For all, yeah, they have both support ultimates. They've built the Wrecking Ball mines, but it's Muse to find the Pulse Bomb onto Kaya early. Surely going to cause at least a little bit of a soft reset for all. Yeah, no, they still want to fight this. They are over here in this hookah side with the Ant Matrix. Maybe to bait out some ultimates or to maybe fake a rotation on, maybe just to find that opening pick. Waiting for Kaya yet again. They drop that amplification matrix. Cool Boy looking through it. Chasm goes incredibly low, and it's Muse to find him as well. So nice opening pick again for Sheer Cold as Isaac's trying to find the trade back through the high ground. Comes back to the rest of his team, though, as the rest of All Yeah are trying to regroup around Cool Boy, forced to use the Immortality Field, and the Transcendence now from Isaac because he was off on that off angle. So that's 2 ultimates used and matrix on the high ground as well to sustain. All Yeah are going to wait for Chasm to come back.
Oh, Chasm's about to come through, but instantly hacks out and has to roll right back out.
He does roll all the way back out. Kaya tried to peek his head on the high ground, but it's a 3-man anti-grenade from Sucrax as the slam came through into Sobek on the high ground. And Kaya is there with the fall through. Nice concussion mine from him from the other side of the staircases. Now they rotate towards that point, and Kaya finds Muse with those generic primary fires from Junkrat as QRXU attempts to touch the point last second. He can't live much longer versus the J Raddington III. And all yeah, win round number 1.
Oh, there's a reason they took us to this control point. You can see the set plays that they've been practicing for hours and hours and hours to be able to land some of these angles. But we head now over to University, another map that I think Sheer Cold were really hoping wouldn't pop up until a little bit later, because every single time you approach this point, if you want to go for that high ground control, it's the exact same problem that we saw on the previous map. And in the first fight, Sheer Cold gave up that high ground control out of fear of the knockback. Now this time around, they're going to have to deal with the Junkrat spam if they go health pack side room. So it's literally between a rock and a hard place.
I mean, yeah, exactly. The only thing I could think of is like maybe because it's just so obvious what the win condition is for All Yeah and just how easy it is to get it, maybe it would not go in their favor. That's like maybe Sheer Cold's aware of what All Yeah will do and play it perfectly on this back side as they try to send Ice Nom towards the point. Chasm gets slip darted on the point. Muse setting up towards the main side of All Yeah. Oh my god, almost dies to the Wrecking Ball, falling back towards his own team. Will now rotate all the way around the left side, but forced to use that recall already. Discord Orbs being placed on that back line. Anti-Grenade connects onto Isaac, but it doesn't really matter because Ice Nom's really inefficient as Ive, but now he is. Goes onto the back line, but doesn't have a lot of the follow-up there either. Kaya in the inside of the point, able to just freely spam away for the back line or the front line of Sheer Cold. Can kind of make that decision himself. Maywall as well here on the point, and Sheer Cold are losing the health pool game, so they have to give it the point, just sustain in the back line, maybe build some ultimates.
Yeah, Sheer Cold, because they don't get an in on either the side room or the high ground, don't have a health pack control, so they're relying on just the burst healing from Sucrax and Sobek. Does mean that they're going to hit their ultimates first, though.
Yeah, they do not die, and they also get that Ant Matrix off now towards the point, using Immortality Field to be able to continue utilizing that. Ice Nom finds Kaya. Kaiser falls as well, and that's a nice 2 kills for the side of Sheer Cold. As long as they get the follow-up here, they get that point flip.
Good utility and good value as well for the lone Ant Matrix that Sheer Cold use. Have to be too careful not to hold too far forward though. Chasm could potentially knock someone off into the drink below, as he is approaching those Hammond mines as well, and he will be able to use them before the EMP comes through. And that applies the same to Coolboy as well.
But look at QRXU. Hiding around the corner, does get spotted out, so has to translocate back towards his team. Chasm's looking for that Sombra. Now Nano Boost engaged though from Ice Nom and Sucrex. Sucrex goes towards that back line. QRXU goes incredibly low as he tries to translocate back towards his team. Wrecking Ball mines on the point to zone, and eventually Ice Nom's forced to use that Diva Bomb, but it's QRXU to find Kaya, and a May wall off onto Ice Nom, so he can't touch the point, but he's going to be able to fly around. Now QRXU drops the EMP onto Kaiser, but it's Coolboy to find Sobek. However, at this point, seems like, oh yeah, or kind of just losing generically to Sheer Cold the current moment. Ice Nom finds Coolboy eventually as well, and oh yeah, surely going to have to reset. Chasm gets left on the point, tries to drop back to the health pack, but Sheer Cold still can get the point.
Yeah, EMP committed to make sure that Kaiser is not able to use that block to stall on the point. Defense Matrix from Ice Nom cancels out a majority of the burst coming through from Coolboy's amp as well. We do still have that tire, but Immortality Field, if it isn't faded out first, is going to immediately make sure that finds nothing.
Kaya and the May go around the right side now. The trap is destroyed. Sheer Cold now playing towards the point. Riptire from Kaya immediately used as the Diva tried to come in on him, but Sheer Cold still staying relatively healthy at the moment. A nice sleep again onto Chasm for the point from Sheer Cold. And now the hack comes through as well onto him. They have an Ant Matrix to kill everybody left side, and it's, oh my god, boosted by the window. An anti-grenade connects onto that backline, and then Ice Nom's here with the Nano Boost, and Sheer Cold look to have a massive advantage with 94% on the board.
Support line cleaning up for Sheer Cold. Oh yeah, without ultimates, having to force Coolboy to go onto that Lucio to try to keep this point in play for as long as possible. Chasm is able to tap on into overtime, gets hacked, but still activates it for the rest of the team.
Eventually, Kaiser's going to come in for the delay, but a pulse bomb to zone out the back line will use that ice block to just delay it a bit longer. This might actually be beneficial as Chasm comes back, but he eventually will go down. Tracer also forced to recall. That's a lot of the mobile characters already out. Now Chasm's back again, but he's hacked and immediately shut down or drops down below. Tries to come back through with the touch Coolboy as well, but no. Sheer Cold will bring us to that round number 3.
It's also a map that Sheer Cold are at a significant disadvantage to being able to find any footing, right? We saw in the first fight. They can't go high ground, they can't go side room, they don't have health packs. All they can really do is play around that burst healing, which allowed them to actually be able to beat EMP charge coming through from Oya, as well as cycle their ultimates far faster than Isaac and Coolboy. So taking a disadvantage, turning it into a significant advantage, allowed Sheer Cold to be able to recover, but now it's going to be the exact same problem. You can't take a fight around that jump pad, you're going to be going into the knockback. You don't really want to be playing on the high ground because then you're inviting both the Junkrat spam and the dive from Chasm. So what is Sheer Cold going to do now to be able to make sure that Sucrex and Sobek are able to survive? And it's going to come down to QRXU and Muse to make sure that they're able to distract Oya long enough that their supports don't have to worry about the rest of the team.
One final round in the matchup, guys. This is the end of it all for both teams to either go down to lose the bracket or move forward in the winner's side. Kaya rotates towards the Coastal side to kind of take an inside angle yet again as Chasm sets up on the backline. Sucrex actually spotted out. They're ready to dive on him, but also, guess who's ready to peel? It's Ice Nom in the back line. Kaiser will drop towards that point, does get hacked, but gets the Maywall off first, forcing that translocator early. Immediately, Anthony comes through, but a cleanse comes through with the ice block of Kaiser, so nice utility usage from both sides, the Maze and the Annas, but Chasm connects on the Muse. Kaya also on the QRXU. Sobek, though, does trade back of Chasm, and now Kaya goes to the high ground, wants the 1v1, but he's immediately into a Baptiste and Ice Nom. Maybe ill-advised in that fight in particular, but, you know, you still have Kaiser trading out Sucrex. It's not over just yet for, oh yeah, here on the point, but as long as you have Ice Nom, Sheer Cold are still in it. Chasm also still back in the fight, came back from the spawn door, so Nobody's been able to control the point. Everybody's coming back. Isaac, in fact, rotated to the point away from his team and got picked off from QRXU. That's a nice job by Sheer Cold, but they need to get these kills without getting traded. And sadly, Icenom lost his mech and is also into a blizzard. And now guess who's on the point? It's the entirety of All Yeah waiting for Isaac to come back out of spawn, but it's an amplification matrix from Sobek on the point. Really don't want to lose the objective just as they wait for Icenom to come back, but it's the nano boost onto the side of Chasm. It's a sleep dart again from Zukrex, but the point flipped for All Yeah, and Kaiser got QRXU.
That's nearly a full ult cycle before the point unlocks for any team, but Oya are finally in control of it and can now try to stagger Sheer Cold down. So Yukarek's going to have to pull a little bit further back. Icenom's so close to that self-destruction. Oya not running that Baptiste. Kobo actually swapping onto that Ana off of the Bap to be able to use the same utility as Zucrax. Means no lamp to save the team.
Flame from Chasm with the Wrecking Ball ultimate in the back line. Nut tries to move into it, but it's Muse to find Isaac on the back, as well as the Nano Boost onto QRXU. Eventually, Kai gets him, but not after Muse has killed Coolboy and Isaac, and Zucrax is there with the answer to cancel Kaya, who came for that back line, and Chasm eventually did find Zucrax, but now it's just him on the point. He's going to try to wait for his team and back up, but Muse is there with the track down. Sheer Cold will flip the point.
Icenom always seems to have that Matrix available as well. Really good sign of a diva. He's able to just continue to peel for his backline, but still provide that focal point of pressure that Oya are having to deal with consistently with that mech. As Isaac is close to the Transcendence, but Kaya finds QRXU before the EMP is in play, and as a result, Sheer Cold do not have that win condition online.
Both teams are doing a phenomenal job at finding first bloods into these fights just so early on. Kaya goes for the far flank around the main, but does have 2 concussion mines to constantly reset. Isaac goes aggressive, knowing he has Transcendence, wants to just get damage down range and then transcend, but now that E-Bomb towards the point, do they avoid it? It looks like they do. They go to the front side, but it's into an Ant Matrix, but Kaya with the Riptire to cancel it, knowing Sobek and QRXU will both be trying to play around it, gets those 2 kills, and this Sheer Cold move over to 42% on the board. Oh yeah, flip it back in their favor.
It's perfect timing from Kaya too, because QRXU doesn't actually get to use the EMP. It gets burnt out, but it doesn't actually cancel the tire before it explodes. And as a result, Oya don't have to worry about that ultimate and having no Transcendence to deal with it. Chasm's going to be able to use those mines, and nothing they can do can cancel them.
The current moment, Sheer Cold now rotate towards the point. They have a Diva here, Tracer here, a Sombra here, and we also have a Pause here. So a little bit of a break.
It's like
as
old McDonald's farm.
You know, it wouldn't be a traditional, you know, hype Overwatch match if we didn't have some sort of pause to make it anticlimactic. You know, it just always happens. It always happens. You know, it's just like in the horror movies when somebody's about to die. You know, something happens at the last second. You're like, oh my god, the protagonist. You know. But now, Sheer Cold, you know, obviously towards this point, Moxie, they're down in terms of the point percentage. They're also down in ultimates. Maybe Muse on the backline could find those picks, could find those kills. And by the way, Sukrek swapped over to Kariko.
Yeah, survivability. Again, they can see that Oya are finding these early first picks, and that because they're having to just push Ixom into continuing to try to peel and use those boosters to catch the flanks every single time, it just creates too much of an absence towards that front line, and Muse, unfortunately, and QRX, who just get even less space to be able to work with. Because Oya, they don't need those flanks, right? They can just spam from afar as QRX here.
Wait, he died in traffic potentially.
Oh, maybe the pause happened and he was on the road.
Oh. Oh, that's so funny. Man, poor guy was not looking both ways because he couldn't. He literally was blind. Unfortunately, disconnected from the game. But 85% now on the board. Oh, yeah, still have that ultimate advantage. Sheer Cold now trying to come back in 88%. Oh, yeah, looking to move forward in the winner's bracket. But Sheer Cold really wants to keep their winner bracket dream alive, going towards that point. Nano boosted, Wrecking Ball into your backline. Find Sucrex. That's a terrible sign for the side of Sheer Cold as Chasm dives into the backline. It's just against Sobek now with both supports removed. There's no more healing. And oh yeah, the second seed almost did kind of struggle with Sheer Cold as Sheer Cold's looking to delay the point. They can't for any longer. Oh yeah, at the very last second versus Sheer Cold are going to move forward in the winner's bracket.
They did such a good job of juggling that defense matrix too, that Chasm would be able to go on a flank, Kaya would go on a flank, and every single time it deprived that Diva of the front, and we would just see the spam come through from that Mei, from the Junkrat, making sure that the support lineup of Sheer Cold just didn't get to sit back which is where you want to be as an Ana and a Bap, right? You never want to be in the middle of the fight because that means you're having to use things like the nade on yourself, which means no anti-nade on the other team to make them slow down. The same for the lamp. The longer you can hold on to it, the more value it finds.
I'm just in awe of that game, honestly. And overall, like in awe, yeah, in particular, right? Like, I don't know who to even like think about who was the MVP of the match. Like, Kaya on the Junkrat looked amazing at times. So did Chasm, and then Isaac in the back line. Obviously, people on Twitter talking about it too. I mean, it's just overall great teamwork from All Yeah in mechanical prowess. And that's what's really keeping All Yeah alive in the tournament, is just overall understanding of the heroes they have to play. And as a unit have just seemingly been coming together so well, Moxie.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about it, right? In the start, it felt like they sort of struggled to play off of each other, especially on Nepal Village. Sanctum, they had it down, but Village was where we really did see that little bit of disalignment between their synergy, but they pulled it back so quickly, and by the end of that game, we were seeing things like Chasm on that Wrecking Ball setting everyone up so that they weren't able to strafe away from Kaya's projectiles, which is what we were wanting to see, which is what we were really hoping that Oya would be able to pull out. I mean, we have to talk about it too. The fact that Chasm and Kaya, 2 players alone, a Junkrat and a Hammond, were able to duo hold down an entire point so that the team were able to come back through insane plays coming through from Oya on the mechanicals.
Yeah, truly amazing work from All Yeah, and I believe we'll hear about them in just a bit after a short break. When we come back, we'll have an interview with one of the members of All Yeah.
Has your music lately been sounding off? Melodies sounding out of tune? Shows ending without a swoon? Missing your beats? With no way to improve your feats? Well, just you wait until you get your hands on the brand new Overwatch Contenders Lucio skin! Obtaining such a masterpiece is as easy as connecting your Battle.net account to Twitch. After that, watching Overwatch Contenders will contribute to your drops progress, letting you claim each outstanding offer, including the luminescent and lustrous lime locks of Lucio, equipped with the latest and greatest hardware and software. The Overwatch Contenders Lucio skin will be sure to heighten your harmonies and fire up your fans.
Welcome back, everybody. What an exhilarating matchup between both All Yeah and Sheer Cold. And we have one of the victors with us. We have Theomatic with us. What's up, man? Congratulations on the win. What a fantastic game you guys gave us. First game of the playoffs, and your team delivered.
Yeah, it was a bit of a dogfight, but we made it through.
Yeah.
I think a dogfight is putting it quite of an understatement, because this is actually a rematch between your two teams, right? You played in the regular season and Sheer Cold got Owen freed, and you were talking to us a little bit before we actually went live about the fact that you thought they'd spent a lot of the 3 weeks of downtime preparing for this match. Did you do the same?
Oh, we did. I mean, if they spent their time preparing, we did the exact opposite. I mean, we were just chilling. I was honestly thinking, this is a long time until the officials, we're kind of really just sitting here doing nothing. But yeah, I mean, we heard, we're talking to some of our friends in the scene. They're like, oh, they've prepared something. All right. And I was thinking to myself, oh, okay. It might be an interesting match. It might not be a 3-0. But I mean, they did manage to get more maps, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day,
from both sides.
You guys made it to obviously a 2 seed. Do you think maybe like with a little bit more practice, obviously you guys ran, maybe let's talk about this. Let's mix up the strategy. Okay, thematic. Like when you guys played Kaya on the Torbjorn or the Junkrat, was that kind of like a pre-planned thing, or was it just based on how Kaya's feeling in the matchup? Because you saw at the end, like he's just locking the Junkrat for every single map.
Yeah, I mean, you could also see how, like, me and Love, we didn't play at all. So, like, the last time we played against Cold, we hopped in for the Habana game because, we have a better hero pool for that map.
Yeah.
But, as we are, going through the group stage and we're, like, farming these guys, we're realizing, hey, we stay with the tried and true. Like, Chasm, like, he's so good on the ball, and, like, if everyone is playing on their, like, top cylinder characters, it's too much for people to counter with one comp. So it's kind of okay to play the comp stuff. These guys played Sombra the whole match, but we ended up winning anyway, right? So, I mean, it was a bit rough sometimes, but I still think it's better to just like stick with what feels good in the moment. And for Kaya, when he wants to play Junk, he plays it, right? And sometimes it feels a bit rough for him. He wants to play Torb, but when he can play Junk, that's when we do the best. So we always try to help him do that.
Yeah.
Okay, that explains definitely why you weren't subbed in, because when we went to Havana, I was like, okay, Theomatic's going to come through, and then I didn't see any subs, so they're going to keep playing the Wrecking Ball. Interesting. But same question, I guess, then for Isaac, because he seems to be one of the more flexible players on the roster. We've seen him play so many different supports, but his Zen definitely feels where he's at his most comfortable. Was it the same strategy, just keep playing what's been working against Shirkold?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Isaac on Zen is great, and the Discord kind of helps a lot in some matchups. I mean, where like the dive is kind of weak, and then the backline is like not being pressured a lot. Like we can go for like the Zen pick, and it does a lot. But it also depends on the map too. Some maps it's like really hard to sit safe and actually like get value off. So I mean, it's up to the guys what they're feeling in the match. But whenever we're like, closer to playing that like classic like the ball Zen May stuff, like Junk stuff, that's the better we'll do.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And maybe to flip topic a bit, Theomatic, I know you wanted to talk about it. We want to talk about it. Obviously for the viewers, we saw sometimes they saw the chat, but a lot of conversation was happening between these two teams as the match was going on. And I mean, you were involved. Maybe, I mean, obviously you're a smart guy, keep it PG, but like, can you describe exactly what's going on between these two teams and maybe why emotions ran so high?
I mean, the chat was scrolling like Twitch chat. It was crazy how much was flying. So, I mean, yeah, there was just a lot of yapping coming from both sides, but obviously, we in Avoided, we like to, banter, right? And it's good. But these guys took that and went above and beyond with it. There was just not a second where either Croxy or Reggie Gab is just not like talking so much. It's unbelievable, like crazy. So, yeah, I mean, there was so much going on. I was actually kind of taken aback, I mean, I really thought these guys spent the entire 3 weeks just preparing all these little jabs and, little quips for just this match to try to throw us off, but yeah.
So then talking about preparing, obviously in regular season, the team went 9-2, only losing out to Twisted Minds and Triple Esports, the two teams in the region who do like to run towards that thorough composition. And since your team lacks normal hit scan, it can probably be quite problematic to run into those compositions. Obviously, you don't have to reveal the secret strategies. Twisted Minds and Triple are definitely going to be looking at this board and figuring out what the team is doing. Do you feel better prepared, however, to go up against those kinds of compositions now that you know those are the two teams that you really have to beat?
Yeah, well, preparation is not really our strong suit. I mean, we just spitball it wherever we go. But I mean, when it comes to those two teams, I think we're definitely confident. When we were playing against Triple in the early group stage, we definitely could have won it. I mean, coming out of that match, we were thinking, we kind of got carried away sometimes. This was an easy match, and I think it was really like up to us to sort of like get rid of those mistakes, because it was actually a very winnable match. Like I came in on Ilios to start it off strong, and then like Captain came in towards the end of it, and it was a good showing on most maps. So if we just clean that up a bit, not in terms of preparation, but just in like focusing up and hitting our shots, it would have been an easier game.
We appreciate you, Thematic, for coming in with all these insights and stuff. Obviously, best of luck in the next round. You guys probably feeling good about moving forward in the winners bracket. So, again, thank you so much for coming. Is there any last words you want to say before we let you go?
No, GG's.
GG's indeed. Appreciate you for coming, Theomatic. And what an awesome interview, an awesome matchup. I mean, what a way to start the whole tournament, the whole playoffs, guys. Aya versus Sheer Cold to win 3-2. I mean, you said it was going to be close, but what a fun match that was.
Oh yeah, are always a fun team to watch because, like I said, they thrive in the chaos. Some teams just like to see the world burn, and Oya are normally the ones who have the gasoline light to set everything up. So we can have a look at how the rest of the matches that we weren't keeping our eyes on actually went down. Whether or not Twisted Minds are going to continue to run that dominant performance, and it looks like they're starting off strong, able to take down Team Peps and continue on into the upper bracket, which means that, oh boy, we have a good match in store this week. Twisted Minds and Triple Esports, the two teams that love to run that pharmacy composition, are going to be going head to head, but we're going to be keeping our eye on these next matches on the lower bracket, Team Peps and SR Peak Check, who had lost to Triple Esports. So both of these teams, comrades in arms, lost to two Farah teams. They're going to be feeling that one.
I mean, shout out to the matchmakers for giving us that amazing first matchup with Aya and Sheer Cold first. And like we said, I mean, obviously you mentioned Peps winning maybe one game in the upper bracket, give them an edge over SR Peak Check, who is now going to be our next matchup after a break, guys. So don't go anywhere. We'll come back with Team Peps versus SR Peak Check.
As a really good play from Cloudy, just aggressively moving, brute forcing onto those members of Sovereigns. Finally, they're able to lock Natlocks down.
They get onto this. Ana goes for the charge, finds it. I mean, what more of an LH Cloudy situation can you get?
So Reaper is Reinhardt with shotguns, right?
Oh,
LH Cloudy is on DPS.
when did this happen? Wait, okay.
No, I mean, the thing is, like, Reinhardt is the best hero in the game, so I don't really understand what these people are doing, playing other heroes.